Go Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yao Mean of Revolution, and Obama and the Democrats are humiliated. We humiliated y'all. We humiliated them. Before we get into that, be sure to first wipe your feet. That means hit the like button, like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Let everybody know Core Figures Live. The humiliation is big. Obama doesn't have his stroke anymore. No one takes him serious. Salute. Oh, he's been humiliated before the world. We letting the world know he's not like us. We put him in power. We give it. We give you clout, and we take it away. Let's get into this because I couldn't wait to get back to the house this evening so we can sit down and bust this down and let everybody know the boule don't have the strength they have anymore. We are humiliating them. We got demands. The whole world knows. Damn, they done got their respect back over there. You goddamn right, we getting it back.
Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to take a moment to come on to give a brief response to a video I saw today about President Obama speaking to a group of black men. He's campaigning for Kamala Harris. It's important to note it was a campaign speech, I think in the city of Pittsburgh, speaking to a group of black men and the brothers, black men like me and so many of you. But it was a speech, in essence, stating that as black men, as brothers, that there was some sort of an obligation or at least an expectation by President Obama for black men to support Kamala Harris because we're black and she's black. But also he suggested that if black men don't support her, that perhaps they have a problem with a woman in leadership. I thought about that and contemplated that for a little while and wanted to give a response for this reason, not a political response, but I wanted to give a response that is paternal. I want to speak as a father, but I also want to give a response that is pastoral concerning discipling people, discipling families, seeing people develop in the image and the likeness of God. And I just want to suggest that the challenge with that speech is that it suggests that pigmentation is more important than policy. And I think that the narrative of that speech was a little bit degrading to the identity of black men. It suggests that black men are not intelligent, free, and critical thinkers to vote our convictions apart from skin color. Let me frame this a little bit more. In 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, he spoke in his I Have a Dream speech. Very, very famous line. He says, "I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." And I believe that the narrative that President Obama is speaking right now undermines Dr. King's dream and suggests that we are in a nation.
Imagine Obama having the damn audacity to go against Dr. King. That's what he's doing. He's going against the message of the good doctor. Obama, he can never come back from this. We understand he's preaching against the message of Dr. King, who shed his blood for his message. The shoe shine Obama had the audacity to tell us to go against that and start judging by the color of your skin, not the content of your character. What? That went against what the civil rights is all about. And the shoe shiners say nothing.
That he's suggesting that we are defined by the color of our skin and not the content of our character. If black men vote based upon the content of our character, knowing that we're created and made in the image of God, Psalms 139, verse 14, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. Genesis 1:26, we're created in God's image and his likeness. I just want to speak to the idea that a political suggestion and what tends to be political manipulation and dictating what the identity of a black man should be based upon him voting upon skin color, I think it undermines the identity of young black boys out there, young black men, and it undermines the construct of strong intact Black families. Let me say it this way: there are undoubtedly young men out there who don't have a strong father in the home like me, who don't have a strong pastor in their life like me to help them develop their identity and their character. Young men who are struggling with identity, struggling with even their self-esteem. I respect President Obama. He's a leader. He's a historical leader in the Black community and a man of great influence. If a young man who does not have a strong father, a strong pastor, a strong mentor in his life hears a national leader like that speaking definition concerning what it means to be a Black man, that can be incredibly damaging. That can undermine what it is that God intends for their lives. And so I just want to create some balance here and to speak from a different perspective to say that
Barry was raised white and Indonesian. he has color issues himself that he has to deal with. He's cosplaying of soul brother. That's a lie. That's a straight up lie. Barry didn't grow up around no Black people. He's like, come out. He grew up in the madrasas of Indonesia. It ain't too many Black people in Indonesia. He was with his white mother, his Indonesian military general stepfather, and that's who was raising Barry.
You are not obligated to have President Obama or James Ward or Ben Carson or LeBron James or anybody else dictate to you who you are and how you should behave for political reasons. Your identity comes through faith in God. God has defined your life in Jeremiah chapter 1. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, God knew you. He created you. He has purpose for you. Your identity is found in God, and it's not to be manipulated by the political ambitions and aspirations of politicians today. I just wanted to say that I have a heart and passion for families, to see fathers and families, and to see strong, intact Black families in particular. And we just don't need political leaders lecturing us concerning what it means to be a man and a father for political reasons in a way that undermines the role that God has called us into, to be servant leaders to our families. So I just wanted to say that again, with humility, with respect. I honor President Obama. I just don't do the.
Nah, I just want to start the message off with that humble brother right there, reminding people that Obama is going against Dr. King with his message, and he sure is. Dr. King told us do not judge people by the color of their skin, but we judge them by the content of their character. We're trying to judge Kamala by the content of her character, and Barack Obama come out and judge us. Oh, we can't have that. But a big backlash is going on, because when I seen what erupted on CNN today, I knew Obama had fucked up. When I seen those round table at CNN and those Black men were telling Obama he messed up, they were forced to say it on CNN. You know how real Black men feel. He's done. It's like, did he try to purposely sink Kamala campaign? Maybe Obama did that on purpose, but it's all bad. Even the bougie house niggas don't like what Barack did. Let's get to that.
Here with how he's talking about Black men in particular and singling them out in this way.
Yeah, let's start from here. He is still the greatest living retail politician. He's objectively a top 15 president, but even he can swing and miss sometimes. And here he swung and missed. Here's what he did. Harris has been very strategic about when and how she's spoken about gender and race. And he stepped on that. And when she hasn't spoken about it, he stepped on.
They're willing to blame Obama to save Kamala. Do you hear what they're saying? No. Kamala was saying that you shouldn't target Black men because they're like every other man. You should try to get their support like you get any other Black man support. Obama stepped on her with this bad move. Nah, Kamala has got the same attitude towards us as Barack.
On that message. And I think also with those comments, and there's more to this, but let me just start with this, is that he forgets, at least in that moment, that she doesn't get the benefit of being a historic first the way he did. She's a historic first woman if she wins.
Maybe that's part of the problem. That's what he's saying. Why doesn't she get the benefit?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we have to remember that this is a thing. Like Barack Obama has a history of kind of chastising specifically Black men, and like the question is whether what he said is relevant. Right, because there are a few Black men, like there are a few white men who are more conservative than Black women, and more white men are conservative than white women. But the point is, does this work? Right, and there's no evidence that it's true or that it works, and he doesn't do that with, like, you've never heard him say, why don't you white women stop being racist and vote for me? Or Kamala Harris, or they don't talk to Hispanic voters or LGBTQ voters. It's only specifically Black men that he takes this tact that doesn't work.
Why do you think that is?
Because you know why.
No,
because
tell me.
The second most loyal, the most progressive group of men on the planet, they don't care about. They assume that they have their vote and they don't have to do anything for it. And the point of this is that if you don't vote for Kamala Harris and you're a Black man, something must be wrong with you. That is the subtext of everything that they're saying.
Well, this is what I would say to this, because I was there when the NABJ interviewed Kamala Harris in Philadelphia. And what Kamala Harris said then was that you asked that question with the assumption that Black men are in somebody's pocket. You can't make that assumption. Black men are just like any other group. They have their interests, and I'm working to get their vote. I don't.
She was shining. No, she didn't. Do you see what they're doing? They're saying Barack overstepped his boundary. Kamala respect us. She don't want to be. This dude Barack fucked up so big that they got to come out here and say Barack is nosing our business. He messed up, but Kamala understand that we should be treated like every other group of men and respect. No, she don't. She don't respect us. No, they see the back. You see this? They see we not going for it, so they want to come on TV and pretend like they take our real conversations to TV. They pretend like they're on our side. We ain't going for it. Y'all is finished.
Expect to get it because I am Black. I am working to get their vote. And that is what she said. And so I think we have to focus on what she said about Black men. And I think we also have to focus on the fact that most Black men.
Is this Wayne's World? He say we should listen to Kamala and not listen to Obama. Oh, I'll be down. We won't listen to both of them and hear what they got to say. Nothing respectful towards us.
They're going to vote for Kamala Harris anyway. That is the reality. But I think that in talking to Black people every day, which I do as a radio host, I've heard some Black men say, I'm not voting for her because she is a woman. I have heard that. And I think that is reprehensible. Okay. I got to be honest.
Who said that? Look at this thing. Shoe shine. Get off your knees. See? I talk to Black people every day. Greek freak, I'm sure you do, fraternity boy. I'm sure you do. And they call me and they say, I ain't vote for her. She a woman. And that's disgusting. Prove it. Let us hear that. You could have made that up. Then he said that remember, Brock is saying we misogynistic. He said, see how they disrespect that. He just had to get one slap in because we done kick their ass. Yeah, they misogynistic. Oh, Big Papa said that. You don't like Big Papa? You don't like Big Papa? What are you talking about? Big Papa said he ain't vote for no woman as president.
I mean, are we? The collective we as the country afraid to just talk about a thing?
I think
is Obama saying
about it, but if he's calling Barack Obama to fix a problem, you have to wonder if this fixes a problem. If I am interested in getting Kamala Harris elected, then I am upset because he hurt the
all these dudes want Kamala to be president, man. So they got to come on here, take some real conversations on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. All right, Black people upset. Don't be disrespecting us. You didn't disrespect white women. Here's what he said. You didn't disrespect white men and disrespect Latinos. That man never said that in his life. That's something he's seen on Instagram and on Facebook. Now they coming on here talking, but I want to get Kamala in. I know you do. There's other nigga next door calling Black men misogynistic. You feel me? This ain't the way to get her in, man.
That she was employing to win.
Well, I think part of what has to happen though is that you have to have that conversation in private.
Nope.
There are some things you talk about in the barbershop, no cameras, right? There's some things that you talk about at home. There's some things that are family business, and I think the mistake that Barack Obama made was to take family business in the street.
I didn't have a problem. Let me let Coleman in there.
Shaming voters is a terrible idea. It was bad when Hillary Clinton did it with deplorables. It was bad when Mitt Romney did it on the eve of the election. Even if there's a grain of truth to it and there's the occasional radio caller that's going to admit to that sentiment, let's actually look at the fact that Biden was struggling with black voters, and that was a topic of conversation over and over again. So it's not about sexism.
Let's hold on one second. Let me take a look at this. Let's take a look at the numbers, because I think just to see what we're talking about here, there's been a progressive decline in overall support among black men and, to a lesser degree, black women for the Democratic nominee.
What happened to the lies about black people were so enthusiastic about Kamala? That was a lie. They should be ashamed of themselves. They told us black people was excited like the days of Barack. Only on TV was people that excited. You knew that because you all black. Y'all have black friends. You never. I swear. I'll tell you, man, I talk to thousands of black people every day. Interact with thousands of black people through my social media network. None of them is saying none of this crap. What the hell are these people talking about? But now the numbers are showing that lady doing horribly with black people, worse than Biden. They told us she was polling better than Biden. Now they found out that's all a lie.
Was doing better among black men than Harris appears to be right now, based on some of the better polling that looks at these demographics. So I guess the other part of this is, you're talking about keep the business private. You're saying he's messing up the strategy, but the numbers are the numbers. And he's trying to fix a numerical problem that she has, a math problem that she has.
Right. I agree with most of what you were saying, Solomon. I don't think the problem is that he spoke it out loud. I think the problem is that he singled out black men. In other words, there is a sexism component to this race. There was a sexism component to the Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump race. Right. If Trump wins, he will have only ever beaten women. I can't give you a number, but sexism is in the mix here. But it's not, and specifically, I think it's men, not black men. And that, I think, is part of where Obama went wrong.
And I think we also have to look at numbers and actual statistics, right? Because all of those reliable polling has a small demographic of black men. You're talking about most of them poll at most 40, 50 black men, right?
Well, and I don't think in this particular case, just to be clear about what we were looking at there, the exit polls were from the actual elections that we had. And then the Pew polling, Pew looks more closely at specific demographics, right. and they do that in a way that we, as a news organization, deem to be a reliable way of looking at this. Not every poll is reliable, but we think this one is.
And when you remember now, we had the same conversation 2 years ago about Stacey Abrams. Why won't black men support Stacey Abrams? And after the election was over, we saw the numbers, and black men in Georgia, where I live, supported Stacey Abrams at higher rates than they supported Biden. So we have this narrative, and then you have the truth, and you have this conjecture, and
but the candidates are speaking with their actions. Kamala Harris next week is sitting down with Charlemagne the God to talk to black men. They're being explicit about it. Right. So let me play for you what happened on Charlemagne's show yesterday, when they were talking about a call that they'd received from a black man in Florida. This was kind of in the context of the storms, but they played the call. Listen.
It don't matter what they is, Democrat, Republican, they all treason, man. They all about money, bro. None of these people care about American people, bro. This shit hurt, bro. This shit hurt, bro. People wake up every day just want to live their life, bro. And you got these greedy snakes, man. You got these greedy snakes call themselves government service people, bro. And they don't give a damn.
Yeah. And the thing about that call was that, they said it's kind of representative of what they hear often on that show, which is why she's going there.
Well, I think that you have people who are angry. I think that you have people who are planted. I think that you have people who are sent to troll. I think that you have people who are sent with a specific message to deliver to black people. And you see it online. I hear it on the radio. I see it on social media. I see it on our Facebook feed as we're doing our show. And so I think some of that is real, and I think some of it is manufactured. I think some of it is performative. But I do think that there are black men at two ends of the spectrum. There's the old black man that's going to say, well, I'm not going to vote for a woman because the Bible says men should be in charge, right? There's that guy. But then there's the young black man who only gets his news from social media and nowhere else. And so he's not watching us. He's not listening. He's not reading me or Michael. He's not reading David. He's not doing any of that. His news comes from social media. And so he has a specific point of view and is likely to believe conspiracy theories. The question is, do people who vote, are they on social media or are they on Social Security? I think they're on Social Security.
Gimmick.
Well, I think
Gimmick. Are they on social media or are they on Social Security? What, fool, do you not get it? See, it's the people on social media who done destroyed your whole little sham hustle, shoe shiner. That's why the Democrats not gonna pay you next year, because you don't influence nothing no more. My radio show, don't move the needle, nigga. That's why I come out of losing. You can't persuade us anymore. You started running black people to the ground and calling it conspiracy theories of what we're talking about.
I think that the problem is that no one's disputing that this government and this country doesn't treat that they treat black men okay, or that we don't have a gripe with either party, right? Because if you talk to black people privately, they will have a gripe with the Democratic Party. The point is, how do you fix it? And why don't you approach that solution the same way you approach the solution?
See, the nigga next to him said we shouldn't be talking about this on TV. See, they don't want to tell the truth on TV. They got the same gripes. You saw they got the same gripes Democrat Party, but that's not for TV, man. Because there ain't gonna be no money. If they tell the truth, they ain't come back on CNN, MSNBC. But they brought them on here for this specific reason to pretend like they're the upset black man who don't like being talked to by Obama like that, when they're not. Every one of them don't mind being talked to like that and want to help come out and get off it. They said that. So this is just a sham. Today, everybody, I'm gonna show you, everybody talking about black men destroying the Democrats and Obama. So they decided to bring them on, some performers, instead of real black men who are destroying Obama and the Democrats. It's disgusting how they trick their people.
Solution with white people and white women who don't vote Democratic, the white men who don't vote Democrat, the Hispanics who don't vote. Why do you take the specific tact for one demographic and not the entire political strategy that you use for everyone else?
I think the answer is what you said a minute ago, which is that Democrats have to get out of the habit of taking the black vote for granted. Yeah, Trump got 19% of black men, 12% of black people last time around. Like, it's going to be a bigger number this time. Adapt to that. Don't just assume.
I think we're talking a lot about race, but in many ways, gender is the key variable here, because even if you look at white people, the Republican Party has been getting a higher and higher share of the male vote. The parties have become more gendered overall, and it's true of Hispanics. Yeah. So what we're seeing among black people is similar to the trends we're seeing among other races. So that's the key question: is why are the parties getting more gendered?
Well, I think the AP did a poll last month in the middle of the month, and what they found was that the overwhelming majority of black voters, whether they are male or female, favor Kamala Harris over Donald Trump. They had a positive view of her. They had a negative view of him. And there wasn't much difference between men and women. So I think that when we're talking about this, we're talking about people who are loud and wrong. I think that's what's happening, is that we hear these voices. They're very loud, and we think that there are more of them than there are. And we'll see when the election happens.
I was thinking, yeah, you fired anyway. They ain't bringing you back on. You've been lying to people far too long. See, he's saying it's only they've been saying it's only trolls. They've been saying real black people did not feel like this. Now they got to tell the truth. But now he said, wait, it's not that many. Them people are like, nigga, are you crazy? What the hell are you talking about? But, you know, this is really blowing up in Obama's face. Now we love it. You know, who the hell told you to disrespect us like this?
My, have the tides shifted? Are you kidding me? Barack Obama. I didn't vote for you either time. I saw right through you back then. And unfortunately, so many of my black brothers and sisters, my own family, they couldn't see through you. But now they can. You coming out trying to shame black men into voting for Kamala? Are you freaking kidding me? You sound like a slave master trying to get your slaves back on the plantation. Well, Barack Hussein Obama, you know, I always appreciated the fact that Obama, as an acronym, could also be mentioned. One big mistake, America. You didn't do nothing for the black community when you were in office. You pandered to the LGBTQ community, though. Oh, yeah, you pandered to them. You lit up the White House in rainbow colors and everything. What'd you do for the black community? What'd you do for America other than just inflame the race tensions in America? Yeah, that's right. You invited Black Lives Matter to the White House. You shamed Dallas police. You inflamed and stirred up racism in this country like nothing before. It wasn't Trump. It was you, Barack Obama. And now you have the audacity to try to shame black brothers to vote for Kamala. She ain't one of us. She's not pro-American. She's pro-illegal immigrant, period. Shame on you. I'm glad my black, brown, and white brothers and sisters are seeing right through you.
Why are black men being lectured to? Why are black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group?
A tour of media to appeal to men.
They need to appeal to the needs of the voters. And so when I was a delegate for President Obama in both of his elections in Ohio, right now the vice president is down 11 points in Ohio, even though I fully expect President Trump to take Ohio as he did twice, but to be down 11 points compared to President Biden, that is a problem. But this other issue I want to bring up is a problem too. Why are black men being lectured to? Why are black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group? Now, a lot of love for former President Obama, but for him to single out black men is wrong. And some of the black men that I have talked to have their reasons why they want to vote a different way. And even if some of us may not like that, we have to respect it. So unless President Barack Obama is going to go out and lecture every other group of men from other identity groups, my message for Democrats is don't bring it here to black men who, by and large, don't vote much differently from black women. And what, as a politician, we should be trying to get all voters to vote. And hopefully there are a few good men out there who do care about the stripping away of some of women's bodily autonomy. But this is wrong for President Obama. It is a wrong course for the Harris-Walz campaign to lay at the feet of black men when they have their reasons. In 2020, the vice president was labeled a cop, as we know.
But do you think, sorry to interrupt you, Nina, but do you think he's right that one of the reasons is because they don't like the idea of...
It might be some... Listen, black men are socialized in the same society as any other man. So yes, is misogyny maybe a part of it? But again, is President Obama and is the Harris-Walz campaign going to lecture other male groups in the same way that they're lecturing black?
The nerve of Obama, Barack Obama, to sit here and try to condemn us black men. And here I was coming to y'all with some really, really good news. Now, if anybody know about my voting pass, I've been very open about it. I'm excited to tell you guys that I got my address updated. I got the new ID thing on the way. My voter registration is active and I'm updated and I'm ready to, you know what I mean? Y'all see who up there? Y'all know what's going on. But yeah, Obama comments suggested that reluctance to support Kamala Harris might be due to, at first they were saying it was gender issues. And then they're also implying that black men might have issues for voting for women in that regard. And that's not the case, man. We just have a problem with voting for somebody who not qualified. That's the real issue. I don't see how people don't understand or grasp that concept. CNN, Scott Jennings rips Democrats for being surprised that men don't want to vote for Harris and calls out Obama for insulting us black men again.
I mean, this is a political party that thinks gender is just a state of mind. And all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, we have trouble with moderate biological males. I mean, who is surprised about this? Yeah, I think Democratic Party elites like Obama and like others have been viciously attacking Donald Trump since 2016. And everything they've said about him is what they have always said about him. And I don't think it's particularly effective right now. I think their problem isn't attacking Trump. Their problem is finding reasons to give people to support Kamala Harris. This stop he made and this plea he's making to African-American men. I mean, he said today, he insulted them. I mean, he, first of all, admits that they're not enthusiastic about her. He said, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president, and you're coming up with other alternatives and reasons for that. And I think one thing we've seen about Democrats over the years is that when they can't convince you to do something, they begin to insult you. Obama specifically, when he was having trouble with rural voters in Pennsylvania, go back all the way into his campaigns, he insulted them about their culture and values. I don't think it's helpful to insult a group of people who are already not enthusiastic about your campaign. But I think that's what he did today. The story tonight is they're struggling with men. Obama's insulting men, and they're out saying, well, let's fix it by sending Tim Walz out and hiring Mitt Romney. It's crazy to me.
I'm sorry. This is not a campaign strategy to name Mitt Romney the Secretary of State.
Are you agreeing?
I don't
This is a suggestion in a report.
Exactly. I don't think we should force any candidate to name who their cabinet is prior to even winning. I think they should be out there talking to voters.
I totally agree with that.
See,
wow,
complete agreement
Scott
with that.
Jennings, Ashley Allison agreeing.
You see what Obama is attempting to do is, how do I say this? He's trying to be a snitch. And you know how conservatives usually have nicknames that rhyme with Uncle Rom and hoons and hoonery and all that type of stuff. No, I didn't say the word YouTube at all. Yeah, he's one of those people whom is like, oh, I see you, y'all escaping. Oh yeah, hey. You know what I'm saying? That's the energy he's giving us when it comes to the Democratic Party. Somebody said, sounds like the truth is hitting hard. People are waking up to the lies and manipulation. Time to break free from the Democratic stronghold. Trump's got a plan, got a real plan for all Americans. And then, a good indication of what a disappointment Obama's presidency was. Let me go ahead and flip to the next video because I don't know what this ad is.
Dear Biden, I want to thank you for opening my eyes about the Democratic Party. I want to thank you for showing me who Republicans and conservatives truly are. You taught me to never believe the mainstream media. You taught me that the news and media will lie and twist your own words to fit their agendas. You helped me realize who President Trump was and is. You pushed me to do my own research about Republicans, about Trump, about the right. You helped me lose the victim mentality, thinking that the Republicans were out to get me and every other black person on planet Earth. You showed me who the true party of hate and division really was. You showed me that the Democratic Party isn't a party for black people, or any people, for that matter. You taught me that you can say racist things as a Democrat and still be praised for it, and have a lot of the black community support still. But most of all, Biden, you helped me leave the Democratic Party behind after being a lifelong Democrat. You helped me vote red for the first time in my life. Thank you, Joe Biden. Words cannot express how grateful I am that you are at PO. I think we know the other letter. Trump 2024. Love Bianca. Thanks again, Joe Biden.
Yo, so I'm CJ Pearson, one of the young black men that President Obama yesterday tried to lecture. He's supporting Kamala Harris just because she, quote, looks like me. Now, guys, I don't know about y'all, but I think that my ancestors fought far too hard for my right to vote in this country for me to support someone just because they look like me, especially when that person who looks like me doesn't give a damn about me. Kamala Harris, for her entire political career, hasn't done a single thing for black people, black men, or anyone, actually, for that matter. She failed to secure the border. She hasn't created a single job. She is actually probably uniquely terrible at her job. Barack Obama, another person who didn't do a damn thing for black people when he was president, believes that black men should set aside our disagreements, set aside our grievances, and just take one for the team. Barack, we've been taking one for the team when it comes to supporting the Democratic Party for decades. And what do we have to show for it? Our inner cities are destroyed. Violent crime is up. We are living in poverty in too many communities across this country. That is the reality of progressive policies in this country and all across America. So no, Barack, I'm not going to support Kamala Harris because you said that is my duty as a young black man. No, I'm going to support Donald Trump, The president who actually delivered for black people, brought about the lowest black unemployment rate in our nation's history. The president who actually gave a damn about our community. That's not rocket science, bro. It's common sense.
And if this proves anything about Obama, is that he's very divisive. He's coming in here talking about you black men have a duty to do this. And basically, like homie said, just like, regardless, like we got to take one for the team. That ain't, bro, no, I'm sorry. I'm black and I'm voting for Donald Trump on November 5th. I don't care what you say. Now, we got to let my homie Terrence K. Williams take it home. Obama, this message for you. He pointed out 3 things. 1, you are not the ruler of black people. 2, you are not the king of black people. And 3, you are not the owner of black people. You are mad because black men won't support Kamala. Well, guess what? This is a free country.
I'm giving everybody a fair warning right now. You might not like my language in this video, so move on if you have sensitive ears. And also, send this video to Barack Obama. Barack Obama, I need to holler at you. Sit down so I can holler at you and look at me when I'm talking to you. Okay? So it took me a day to respond because I wanted to give you time to think about how stupid you sound when you say you are ashamed that black people are not supporting Kamala Harris. And Barack Obama, do you not realize that this is America? You are a former president. So you should know that this is America. And black people have the right to vote for and support whoever they want. Black people have the right to support and vote for whoever they want. I have the right to wear this red hat. I have the right to support Trump. Black people don't have to support Kamala Harris. Barack Obama, do you think people have to do what you say? We don't have to do what you say. Who do you think you are? You are not God. We don't have to worship you. You want us to get down on our knees and worship you and bow down to you, boy, bye. Do you think you are the ruler of black people? Do you think you are the king of the black community? Huh? No. You act like you own us. You act like you own black people. You don't own me. Okay? So be ashamed all you want. I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. I'm not doing it. And a lot of black people are not doing it. And you want to know why, Barack Obama? Because don't nobody like her. And people realize now that voting for somebody based on the color of their skin is not going to help them. It's not a great idea. You know why black people want to vote for Trump and not Kamala? Huh? Because they realize that Trump actually cares about this country and Trump will do what's best for everybody, including black people. And black people realize that you bamboozled and tricked them into voting for you based on the color of your skin. Now black people realize that that's not a great idea because we had a black president who didn't do a damn thing for black people. Trump did more for black people than you. You bamboozled and tricked black people into voting for you. Well, vote for me because I'm black. And you made black people think you were going to do all these magical things. And you were promising all this false hope. And didn't do nothing. Nothing. Black people did not get anything out of you. Do you know who benefited from you being the first black president? You did, Barack Obama. You are the only person who benefited from you being the first black president. You, Barack Obama, you are the only one who benefited. You left the White House and made millions of dollars. Black people didn't get anything that you promised them. But you want to run your mouth. You want to yap off at the mouth and talk about why black people are not supporting Kamala like they supported you. They made a mistake supporting you. Because you are a lying piece of shit. And you don't own us. So go sit your black down somewhere. And get out of my damn face, fool. Screw you.
Sorry, Obama, I'm a black man and I'm voting for Donald Trump for president, and there is no amount of lecturing or bullying or shaming that you can do that is going to make me change that decision. I am not afraid to vote for Kamala Harris because she is a woman. I refuse to vote for Kamala Harris because she has spent the last 4 years destroying this country. She has spent the last 4 years throwing up the borders to illegal immigrants. She has spent the last 4 years destroying this economy. We have seen over the past couple of months that she is not fit to be president. She can barely speak. She can't articulate a vision. And actually, she's pretty. And if you think that I, as a black man, am going to let that waltz into the White House, that is going to get my vote because you're lecturing me and you're bullying me, and you may be the surrogate black dad for a lot of fatherless black boys that are running around this country, but I got a dad. I know who he is, and it ain't you. I'm voting for Donald Trump for president. Take it or leave it. Sorry, Obama.
Jack. Hit that thing. Hit that thing. Okay. All right. So y'all saw the thumbnail. You see the title. Barack Obama is asserting himself. President Barack Obama, ex-President Barack Obama, two-term president that I voted for twice. And now he feels like he's the king of the black people. What I say, go. Y'all are not doing what I said you're supposed to do. You're supposed to vote for Kamala, and you're not doing it. The polls show that the black men are moving away from her. It ain't got nothing to do with you. It ain't got nothing to do with the color of Kamala. You consider her African-American, whatever the case may be. This is what it has to do with. Black men are starting to give a damn about the country. At first, we didn't really want to play the political game too much, but we're starting to give a damn. And guess what, Barack? You're the reason why a lot of black men started to really pay attention. And you didn't serve us well. You really didn't. Let's jump into it. Today's live stream will hurt some of y'all feelings, especially if you're still on a Democratic plantation, which is cool with me. I'm not trying to pull nobody. I'm not trying to, this ain't no sales pitch. I give a damn what side you're on or not. I know that God will reign supreme no matter what, because right now the current administration is running our country straight to hell. It's demonic. This is a brand new, my gracious, man. Nick P. Shout out to Nick P. Nick P, man. This dude shows so much love, him and his crew. Hey, man, your crew is so dope. I met him in New York Stock Exchange party that he invited me to, man. It was beautiful. It was life-changing. Thank you so much, big dog. And thank you for the super chat. Guys, let's get into it. But before we get to the black men letting Obama know what it is, and it's going to be crazy. Don't skip this. Make sure you like this. We're going to start off with this new Trump ad that has to do with how Kamala and Biden has turned this country into a free-for-all for other nations. Check this out.
Open borders, deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America. It is a full-blown invasion.
Armed Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about migrant crime, this is what they're talking about. Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE. Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Lake and Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
And was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
In the occupation, listen. In the occupation, liberate America. Seems like Kamala and Biden can care less to do that. Guys, hold on to your seats. First of all, I want to apologize to anybody who's thin-skinned and don't want to hear certain language. All right, certain curse words and whatnot. I'm gonna let you know this right now. Either put on your earmuffs or exit stage left right now, because I deal with nothing but adults over here, truth seekers over here, people who don't mind getting dirty down to the nitty gritty for the sake of truth finding. All right. So here are some joints. That was the trigger warning right there. You're not gonna get any more. Okay. And our slap midget is off on the weekends. So Kamala Harris, you're lucky today. You're not gonna get slapped by the slap midget. But we're about to take you to school right now. I got some, not guests, but I'm gonna act like I got some guests. I got some guests. They are black men, and they got some words for Obama. But before we get to the first one, I want to play this one right here. I want to say congratulations to Trump for beating those charges. Look at this right here. Letitia James, aka Respucia, that's what I call her, Respucia James, who tried Trump and try to put 34 felony counts on this brother and take away all his money. She just now lost. Trump is being vindicated all over the place. Look, God is mighty. I don't care how much y'all try to shut down a messenger of the Lord. His message will go forth. Period. Point and blank. Check this out right here, man. We about to get into it. I'm telling you, like this video, share it, let other people know we in the business. We in the building, man.
Some of y'all been real quiet ever since Trump got his $450 million back. In case you haven't been following, the fraud case in New York went in front of the appellate court. Even the banks came to Trump's defense. They said, look, we lent him money. He paid it back with interest on time. We don't have any problem. Trump's team said, hey, look, we borrowed money, paid it back on time with interest. There shouldn't be a problem. The judges pretty much said, hey, this was definitely an attack on a presidential candidate and can be seen as election interference. Y'all better get that man his money back. I think that the most interesting thing to note of all of this is the state's attorney general's closing statements begging not to be sanctioned. Yet another court case overturned against Donald Trump. I think that the state should pay him interest for every day that that money was out of the bank. I think the attorney general should be removed. Donald Trump and his team called this a witch hunt from day one. Some of y'all been.
Donald Trump called it a witch hunt from day one. They admitted that this was a political situation. They were just trying to take down their man so that he wouldn't be able to run. This brother is being vindicated. He's getting all of his monions back. Let the class say monions. That's what the hood calls money right now, monions. All right, he's gotten 450 million of his monions back, and I'm with this gentleman right here. For them trying him, he should receive interest on his money every single day that he had to pay it. Also, the attorney general should go to trial for this. Period. Everybody behind it. This is why they don't want Trump to win, because Trump is coming back for every single one of you who tried to join up and take him down. And y'all deserve it. Like y'all follow the law, right, baby? Yeah, you do. I told y'all I'm not gonna do too much talking on this live stream. Y'all be like, yeah, y'all, you like to run your mouth any daggone way. You're gonna talk. Guys, thank you so much for super chats. I appreciate it. Salty Doug Sellin says, I think we are finally to the point where we see ourselves as Americans before anything else, as we should. That's what Dems are afraid of. Shout out to Trump, man. Thank you so much, Salty Doug. And also Dexter Rolfe. Thank you so much, man. God bless you and your family as well. And God bless everybody under the sound of my voice. If you did not give God praise, glory, and honor for waking you up this morning, covering you and your family with a roof over your head, protecting you and your family from seen and unseen dangers, having blood running warm through your body this morning, giving you another day to get it right, you better do it. You better give God some praise, because let me tell you something. God is real, but this ain't no church session. I told you already, the trigger warning is coming. Let's get to it. The first young man I'm going to is not as bad as what you're going to see. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and, first of all, I'm going to play my guy. What's his name? What's this brother name again? Sheesh. Oh, Rob Smith. Shout out to Rob Smith. Listen to this message from this brother, man. He is cooking. Let's go.
Sorry, Obama, I'm a black man and I'm voting for Donald Trump for president, and there is no amount of lecturing or bullying or shaming that you can do that is going to make me change that decision. I am not afraid to vote for Kamala Harris because she is a woman. I refuse to vote for Kamala Harris because she has spent the last 4 years destroying this country. She has spent the last 4 years throwing up the borders to illegal immigrants. She has spent the last 4 years destroying this economy. We have seen over the past couple of months that she is not fit to be president. She can barely speak. She can't articulate a vision. And actually, she's pretty stupid. And if you think that I, as a black man, am going to let that waltz into the White House, that is going to get my vote because you're lecturing me and you're bullying me, and you may be the surrogate black dad or fatherless black boys that are running around this country. But I got a dad. I know who he is, and it ain't you. I'm voting for Donald Trump for president. Take it or leave it. Sorry, Obama.
The surrogate dad for all these fatherless black children out there is trying to tell his little brats that y'all better vote for. And they're like, sorry, Dad, but we've been paying attention, and he's not the best choice for the country. He's not. He was the tie-breaking vote that ruined this economy. Well, not ruined it, but sent us into inflation. She was the tie-breaking vote. She was also the border czar that continues to blame Congress for not moving when she had 3.5 years to get it done. And the House was Democrat. The Senate was Democrat. The executive branch, Democrat. Everything was Democrat. They could have done whatever they wanted to. On 60 Minutes, I forgot my man's name, but he asked Kamala, he said, was it a problem? Well, do you regret loosening the restraints at the border as much as you did, because the numbers more than quadrupled, and she still would not be held accountable? She still would not admit that effed up. Bruh. Why would anybody in their right mind vote for her? That's the problem right there. They keep on trying to say Barack Obama just now did this heartfelt speech where he was talking about how Trump is a liar and all of the Republicans are liars. And how can you vote for a liar? What the hell has Kamala and Biden been doing this entire time? If Biden was such a great president, and I bring up Biden because Kamala is going to do the same things that he's doing, the same policies, everything. She has no policies of her own. She flip-flops like a... Oh my gracious. I told y'all I wasn't going to talk. Let's get down to the next one, because I told y'all, man, this is going to get crazy. Trigger warning. Put on your earmuffs if you can't handle it, because we got Cousin T in the building. Yes, we do. And y'all already know Cousin T goes off. He goes off. And if your heart is hurt by what you're about to hear, charge it to my mind and not my heart, because I did not mean to offend any of you. I do realize that you all are Christians. So am I. But when I step onto the battlefield, I step on it boldly, like David, when I say, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praises will continually be in my mouth. My soul make her boast in the Lord, and the humble shall hear thereof and be glad. Oh, let us magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his holy name together. Cousin T, you got the floor. Don't hurt my people feelings too much, but brother, you got the floor. Oh my God, this is about to go crazy. Hit that like button, share this video. It's going down.
I'm giving everybody a fair warning right now. You might not like my language in this video, so move on if you have sensitive ears. And also, send this video to Barack Obama. Barack Obama, I need to holler at you. Sit down so I can holler at you and look at me when I'm talking to you. Okay? So it took me a day to respond because I wanted to give you time to think about how stupid you sound when you say you are ashamed that Black people are not supporting Kamala Harris. And Barack Obama, do you not realize that this is America? You are a former president. So you should know that this is America. And Black people have the right to vote for and support whoever they want.
That's right.
Black people have the right to support and vote for whoever they want. I have the right to wear this red hat. I have the right to support Trump. Black people don't have to support Kamala Harris.
That's right. That's right.
Barack Obama, do you think people have to do what you say?
Yes,
we don't have to do what you say. Who do you think? You are not God. We don't have to worship you. You want us to get down on our knees and worship you and bow down to you, boy, bye. Do you think you are the ruler of Black people?
Yes, you do.
Do you think you are the king of the Black community?
Preach.
Huh? No. You act like you own us. You act like you own Black people. You don't own me.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
So be ashamed all you want. I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. I'm not doing it. And a lot of Black people are not doing it. And you want to know why, Barack Obama? Because don't nobody like her. And people realize now that voting for somebody based on the color of their skin is not going to help them. It's not a great idea. You know why Black people want to vote for Trump and not Kamala? Huh? Because they realize that Trump actually cares about this country and Trump will do what's best for everybody, including Black people. And Black people realize that you bamboozled and tricked them into voting for you based on the color of your skin. Now Black people realize that that's not a great idea because we had a Black president who didn't do a damn thing for Black people. Trump did more for Black people than you. You bamboozled and tricked Black people into voting for you. Well, vote for me because I'm Black. And you made Black people think you were going to do all these magical things. And you were promising all this false hope. And didn't do nothing.
Yo, I have to pause it right there because he's telling the truth. Barack Obama made us think that he was about to, man, Black people, it's on now. Y'all voted for the Black man. It's on now. What we got to do? All right. Whereas all the different ways that Black people were being held down with the thumb of the white man, we about to fix all of this. Turned out he pulled us away from our religion. This brother is not a Christian. He don't believe in God. He believes he's a Muslim. You know, and I no issue with that. I don't have no issue with that. But here's the thing. This country was founded and created, structured, built, and it flourishes from the love of God, the love of Jesus. God used to be in schools. God used to be everywhere. We used to profess it with our mouths every single morning with the Pledge of Allegiance. So, and it's on every dollar, but they sent him in the building to completely rip things apart and do whatever he wanted to do. And we didn't hold him accountable. But now we let him be the voice of the Black man, the voice of the Black people. Come on, get the hell out of here with that. My bad for interrupting you, Cousin T. Let's get back to it.
Magical things. And you were promising all this false hope. And didn't do nothing.
Well, he did make gay. He said, you know what? Gay people, we should all share in your pride, girl. Grab air. We gonna share in your pride, girlfriend. If you're a man and you want to be a woman, you want to be a woman. Yes, you can. You got a whole month, girl. And guess what? We're gonna make your month longer than Black History Month. You didn't hear that from me though. All right, let's go.
Nothing. Black people did not get anything out of you. Do you know who benefited from you being the first Black president? You did, Barack Obama. You are the only person who benefited from you being the first Black president. You, Barack Obama, you are the only one who benefited.
That is true.
You left the White House and made millions of dollars. Black people didn't get anything that you promised them. But you want to run your mouth. You want to yap off at the mouth and talk about why Black people are not supporting Kamala like they supported you. They made a mistake supporting you.
Oh, that hit hard. I need to run that back just a little bit. That part right there, that hits hard.
You left the White House and made millions of dollars. Black people didn't get anything that you promised them. But you want to run your mouth. You want to yap off at the mouth and talk about why Black people are not supporting Kamala like they supported you. They made a mistake supporting you.
Ooh.
Because you are a lying piece of shit.
Oh.
And you don't own us. So go sit your Black ass down somewhere. And get out of my damn face, fool. Screw you.
This was sponsored by Cousin T. What do you make? What you make? Cousin T's pancakes. This was sponsored by Cousin T's pancakes. You know what Obama did though? So, what's his name? John Legend and John Legend's wife were interviewed. They was at one of Diddy's white parties, right? And they said, what was the wildest Diddy party you've ever been to? And both of them looked at each other. And then the interviewer said, no, y'all got to tell us what's on your mind. What was the wildest Diddy party you've ever been to? You know what they said? Obama's birthday party that Diddy hosted. It was definitely Obama's party. And they started laughing, looking at each other. They got the memories in their mind of all that baby oil that Barack had on him and that Michelle had on her and that Jay-Z and Beyonce had on them and John Legend and his crazy ass wife had on her. Like, they was like, man, that was a party. That was a ball. I still go to church trying to repent for that night. Everything that happened, I still got jizz in my ear. You weren't supposed to hear that. As a matter of fact, we're going to edit that part out. Yeah. The jizz in the ear part, yeah, it's not for my audience, okay? This is a family audience. Jizz in the ear, can't do that, all right? But John Legend and his wife, they confirmed that was the wildest Diddy party they've ever been to. Ever been to. The reason why I bring this up, man, and I'm not trying to put people down for partying. If you want to party, do your thing. I don't care about that. But when it comes to this country, man, we have the freedom to vote and freedom to we have the Constitution for a reason. But we currently have someone that's running for president that want to rip us of our freedom of speech, completely take that away from us. Our Second Amendment rights, they want to take that away from us. They're doing our own citizens dirty. I'm talking about people who have jobs and paying taxes and people who are homeless. We are giving our funds, our taxpayer funds and monies to illegal immigrants so that they can live the high life, so that they can have housing, so that they can have money in their pockets to be able to go out there and do whatever, so that they can be able to eat. They not missing a meal. They got medical. They got everything they could ever want and need on living the American dream without even being Americans. Yet you have somebody, when I said, give God praise for the roof over your heads that God put over you and your family's heads, I got somebody inside of my chat right now, a tax-paying, God-loving American who's saying that I might even lose the roof over my head. But I still give God praise just for being here another day. Someone in my chat said that they are looking to potentially lose their home. But yet, all over our country, we are housing illegal immigrants for free. For free. Think about that, man. And it's Kamala's fault. It's Biden's fault. Trump never built the wall, but the wall would have made things tighter than they was before. Tighter. Way tighter. And it was numbers quadrupled under Biden and Kamala. And then they made an executive decision to shut things down a little bit. And now the numbers are back manageable. Come on, I need y'all to pay attention to that. And then the border bill for $118 billion, 61% of that, 61% of that was to fund Ukraine's war. 13% of that was to fund Israel. 12% was to fund the border. 4% was for Asia Pacific. Come on, it was not a freaking border bill, is what I'm saying. This live stream needs to get in front or mix in with the algorithm of Barack Obama's fans, of Biden's fans, of Kamala's fans, so that they can hear the truth. I'm not trying to bash anybody. I just want our country to still be our country in the future. I want our children and our children's children to have property that they can afford, have food that they can afford. I want them to be in a nation where they feel like it's okay to be in a household where it's a nuclear family, a man, a woman, children, building, because that's how we build more kids, with a man and a woman. I'm sorry, guys, and I love the LGBTQAI plus community. I do. But come on now, the agendas that they are pushing. DEI? DEI? Come on now. Gender neutrality? Come on now. Guys, I don't have a whole bunch to say. I just wanted to put that out there. Cousin T, you blessed it. Rob Smith, you blessed it. Everything, I want y'all to share this bad boy, like this bad boy. Put it out there so that it falls.
Joining me now is Xavier DeRousseau, a former BLM activist, and Anton Daniels, a YouTuber, content creator. Xavier, let's start with you. You say you were personally, after watching them, offended by Obama's comments?
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, Obama's not as talented of a liar as he used to be. But quite frankly, my ancestors fought way too hard for me to have the ability to learn how to read, just for Obama to expect me to be so uneducated to think that I would vote for Kamala Harris simply because she claims to be a Black woman. And I mean, if people want to stop having Kamala Harris be called a DEI hire, maybe he should stop trying to remind us of her demographic every 5 minutes. Black men not supporting Kamala has nothing to do with her being a woman. It has everything to do with her lack of accomplishments over the last 1,359 days.
Well, Anton, I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, the shtick is kind of worn thin with Obama, you know. How you doing, Pittsburgh? You know, that whole, it just seems very 2002 or 3. I mean, 2008, I should say. Right? It doesn't quite have the same appeal, as megastar-ish as he is.
You know, it's a Hail Mary pass, considering that we did vote him in based off of identity politics. And I'm not saying that all is bad, because he did do some things that I didn't necessarily disagree with that Trump absolutely did better than him. But at the same time, I felt that it was incredibly disrespectful, because he's making the assumption that we're not educated enough to lead our families, to look at the policies, to understand exactly what's going on with immigration. And we're supposed to overlook everything that they did over the last 3.5 years that was not in our favor. And when I say our, I'm talking about the American people, let alone men, let alone black men. And we're supposed to vote for her because of some misogynistic reason that's made up. And instead, we've learned how to educate ourselves. And now they've sent their Messiah back to rein us in and bring us back into the Democratic plantation. And most men that I've spoken with have said that it's absolutely disrespectful, and we're done with Obama.
Well, Xavier, again, when he says, "You're lucky Michelle's not here," he does. What is that supposed to mean? I mean, I guess it's supposed to be funny because she'll scold them in a more convincing or scarier fashion. It's kind of treating young black men as children, almost like you're children, and mommy's coming back and mommy's going to chastise you and you're going to get punished. But you're supposed to vote against your own economic interests to make Michelle and Barack happy in their 4 mansions?
It's absolutely degrading. And black men are sick of being reduced to being expected to think with our skin color. We have seen how terrible the Obama, Biden, Harris trilogy has been for our country. It has completely demoralized our country. And quite frankly, Obama has no credibility, because this is the same man who heavily endorsed Joe Biden. And we all can feel in our pockets, and we can see it for sure at our border, just how terrible the Biden-Harris administration has been for our country. And Obama admitted himself back in an interview with Steve Colbert that if he could, he would run our country from an earpiece down in the basement. And it wouldn't surprise me if that's exactly what he's doing.
Now, Xavier, Anton, the media are really pushing Obama to be the, rescue agent for Kamala's campaign. Watch this.
Barack Obama, with joy and with humor, is able to sort of get through to an audience that it's not okay to lie. Mm-hmm. It's not okay to sell the presidency. It's not okay to be a narcissist and to have the reins of the presidency.
Anton, so Kamala's joy campaign isn't really working. So Obama's going to come in, and again, you're supposed to make less money in real terms, right, and be happy with it to make Obama and like MSNBC happy? I don't understand this argument.
They took the same blueprint that got Obama elected, and he was a first for us, right? So our grandparents and our parents and things like that wanted to happen, but they were largely voting out of ignorance and voluntary ignorance because they only wanted that identity politics in order to push him through into the presidency. But admittedly, where he was charismatic, she isn't. And so we can see through her. She's a chameleon. When they unleashed her and they allowed for her to be able to take reporters' questions and things like that, it showed that she was completely incompetent. And frankly, not only do we feel disrespected, but I'm uncomfortable with Obama standing in front of us trying to scold us and then divert our attention away from the things that's really meaningful, especially for our families. I'm not comfortable with him. I don't want to hear any more messages of hope. I don't want to hear any more messages of joy. I can feel it with my pocketbooks. My friends can feel it with their pocketbooks. And we're ready for him to get out of our way.
I mean, Xavier, I saw something on YouTube. I think it was yesterday, or maybe it was Instagram. But it was a young man, African-American, and he was talking about the price of food. And I think he was at some fast food place. I can't remember what. I think it might have been McDonald's. But just the nuts and bolts, when you go through just what a Happy Meal costs, the differential in simple things that families like to treat themselves to, that's shocking. Like in Obama, that doesn't affect him. It doesn't affect Hillary. It doesn't affect Trump. But Trump somehow has that ability to say, that's not acceptable in America. But they think Obama's charm is going to override daily life for people. The charm offensive from him, it's not 2008 any longer.
I can't emphasize enough that being a young Black voter, it feels like the Democrats are constantly trying to gaslight me about my own reality. I know how expensive food is. I know how expensive gas is. And I know how many illegal immigrants are running around in Los Angeles. We are sick and tired of being expected to feel good with Barack Obama, or now they're trying to put the ovarian version of Barack Obama up there and tell us that she is talented. She is absolutely not talented. And on behalf of Black men, it's not that we're opposed to having a female president, because Miss Ingram, I would love to vote for you if you ever decide to run.
Only if you guys are in my cabinet. That's the only way I'm going to do it. Xavier and Anton, thanks for spending time with us on a Friday night. We appreciate it.
Service detail and a bunch of money. He can just burn money anytime he wants. Martha's Vineyard, the Poconos, Barbados. Why would you go to Poconos, Tim? He's rich. Whatever. His own island. He knows people that own islands, man. He flies private. He's doing the damn thing. So for whatever reason, he has to leave his perfectly nice life of living off the ruins of the life he's ruined as president of the United States. And now he has to come campaign for Kamala Harris in Pennsylvania. On his way to campaigning for Kamala Harris in Pennsylvania, leaving his cushy life, mind you, where everything's beautiful and he eats foie gras and beautiful, what's that stuff in the ground? They look ugly, but I heard they taste good. Truffles. The truffles here. He's eating truffles and someone's feeding him grapes for no reason. And he's buck naked and a towel around him and his spa treatment and people are massaging him and people are fanning him. And he's just enjoying life on a level that only P. Diddy can understand. He's enjoying his time and life is good. And it's good to be Barry O.B. Right? Well, he has to leave all that because the people, the money people, the handlers that make his life possible, that he owes a debt to and probably a couple of kids too or something, and give him a call. They say, we need you to go down to Pennsylvania, help out Kama. He's like, what? Like, yeah, you need to go to Pennsylvania, help out Kama the chameleon. She's there, she's burning up, man. It's one thing to lose, but she's going to get destroyed. If she gets destroyed, we lose the House, we lose the Senate, we lose all purpose of being. And she's losing all of the Black vote. Bernie's like, what? Well, hey, I'm sitting at home. Hey, I'm at home. I'm chilling. It's got nothing to do with me. Barack Obama, here he is in Pennsylvania at the Kamala Harris campaign, telling Black men they ain't nothing. Telling Black men how stupid they are. Out of love, of course. It's all love, baby.
I'm going to go ahead and just speak some truths, if you don't mind.
Yeah, not opinions. To be very clear here, he's not speaking his opinion, his thoughts, the way he sees the world. He's going to tell you some truths. Yeah. See, Obama is the arbitrator of truth. So go ahead, Obama, tell us some truths, brother.
Speak some truths, if you don't mind. Because my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout.
Hey, I gotta ask, what kind of relationship does this guy have with Barack? Last time I looked at somebody like that, that was Mrs. Black. Like, come on, dude. Lighten up. He's not the Messiah. He's just a skinny black kid from Hawaii with the ability to lie to people in rapid succession. fluently in corruption.
In all quarters, we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't...
Let me get this right. Did he just say he's noticed there's been a drop-off in voter support for Kamala Harris compared to himself? Is that what he said? Good. That my work is done. Thank you, Johnson. That's right. Give it up for that. Feel good about yourselves. That's right, guys. Hit the like button because you are a part of that. You helped make that happen.
Just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly.
Oh.
And say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you.
I didn't go to college, Barack. I didn't. Went to college with me? Nah, man. Only like 10% of black people go to HBCUs. Yeah, only like 10% of black people go to HBCUs. I mean, you hear talk as if it was like 90%, but it's like, nah, it's like 10%. Most black people don't go to HBCUs. First of all, only like 30% of black Americans go to college. Only 10 to 20% of those people go to HBCUs. But be that as it may, that don't even matter. Common don't know nothing about me, man. We not friends. We don't know each other. We did not grow up the same. She didn't live in our neighborhoods. She's not our friend. We didn't play checkers. We never played tunk or spades together. I don't know her. Willie Brown knows her. That's who her friends are. Elites. She's hanging out with Doug and his kids for the last 20 years. 20 years solid. So I don't know what he's talking about here, Johnson. This is whack. We got a bunch of blacks here on display, standing around him like a bunch of guppies, eating up the nonsense. And even if she did grow up where we grew up, if she's not running to do anything that improves our lives, why would we give a damn where she lived, where she's from? It just doesn't make any sense. Folks, I socialize with people that I have something in common with beyond skin. If she's not even black, I hate this conversation. Once again, who's bringing up race? Once again. Now, the former president of the United States, he's bringing up race. Does anybody roast his ass for it? Oh, when Trump said, I know she was black. I thought she was Indian. Oh, my God, he said a race. Obama is going to do a whole spiel about race. 2 black people specifically. And the Democrats are not roasting him.
Understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences.
What are you talking about? Why does he get to blow the folks? He is filling us with hot air. Understands the pain and the agonies of the experiences of being black. Really? She's obviously an Indian woman, and people notice that when they look at her. Only the most doofus of people that think highlights in someone's hair changes who they are ethnic. But be that as it may, it doesn't even matter. That doesn't matter. But once again, folks, when I was putting out content and I was saying, hey, all they're doing is trying to weaponize her skin tone on us. And that's disrespectful. Why can't they run on what she's going to do? Why can't she run on? You know, a quarterback's got to be able to throw the ball, man. Got to be able to throw the bomb. Got to be able to scramble. Run when you get pressure. Take the hit. There's a lot of reasons. Reflexes, touch on the ball, all these things, leadership, all these things make you a good quarterback. Not just the color of the quarterback. And that's all he's selling is the color of the quarterback. Nothing the quarterback is going to do is going to help us win the game. Because we want to win the game. We're not here. And this is what Democrats, which they don't get. I think they get it. I think they try to pretend like they don't get it. This is what the sheep don't understand. You don't understand that it's our job to win the game for our families. It's our job to win the game for our communities. It's not our job to win the game for Kamala Harris or the Democratic Party. No, we're playing in our own games. We all have our own game going on. We want to win the game of our lives, of our families, not the game of Kamala's life and of her family and of her party. No! We vote for you because you work for us. You're supposed to help us win the Super Bowl, not you. And that's all the Democrats do. They try to get black people to help other people that they deem are black or similar or whatever to win. So we're supposed to feel good about them winning. Well, what's there to feel good about unless we win? We win, not theoretically, not emotionally, not spiritually, but through other people's lives, through her, and look how great Michelle looks. We already been here and done that dumb stuff. Shout out to those people who never did the dumb stuff. I did the dumb stuff. 2008, I was dumb. 2012, I was dumb too. I was like, 2008, I was dumb. 2012, I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? After 2008, I was do. But what I'm saying is, a lot of people fall for this. But what we have to understand, folks, we gotta get it, man. I feel you, man. If you're caught in between, listen. Your job is to win the Super Bowl for your family. I'm not saying hurt other families. I'm not saying hurt other people while you try to win. I'm not saying play the game dirty. But I'm saying the Democratic Party wants you to play the game for them to win. They want you to play the game for Kamala to win. And that right there is kiddified. That is juvenile thinking. That is immaturity. We cannot afford, us working class people who cannot afford to be focused on Kamala's career success over our own personal family success. Understand? If you are not a member of the Tim Black Show, become a member. Yeah, go ahead and become a member, man. You right here at the door of becoming a member of the Tim Black Show. Go ahead and do it. Go to patreon.com, Tim's Take Live. Become a member.
We had to work harder and do more.
One more time.
And pain and joy comes from those experiences. We had to work harder and do more.
This black guy back, it's a black guy on the left in a long-sleeve shirt, an Oxford shirt. And I think he knows. This is BS. Look at him. Look at his reaction.
And do more.
Look at him. Look at the floor. He's thinking to himself, in what world, in what reality is Kamala Harris done more? She did not earn the vice president slot. She was given a slot after losing, coming in basically dead last in the 2019-2020 elections. Dropping out before Iowa, not winning a single vote. Not a single electoral vote. Getting her butt kicked in her own state. She had to run back to California before she lost her seat. And then Biden plucks her out of her hat. Okay? Then she gets to be the VP, the nominee of the Democratic Party for this election. She didn't earn this. She didn't compete for it. What are you talking about? Had to work harder. What you mean work harder as in what? What does she work harder doing? Opening the border? not knowing their job. I don't want to know what I got to do. I don't want to know things to do to make the country better. No. Fighting off information. Get that report out of my face. I don't want to know what I need to do. I don't want to need to know how to make America better. I don't need to know how to make Black people do better in this country. I don't need to know these things. Leave me alone. Fighting off facts. Fighting off information. Get out of here, information. That's what she did, man. She had a bunch of security guards standing around her blocking information for her. She was like Wonder Woman with the bracelets, blocking facts. I'm not going to sit here and say that Biden's demented. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's cognitively declined. No. I'm not going to sit here and do that. Let's be really, really clear. Nah, she didn't work, and she worked hard. It was that at anything that benefited us. And if she worked hard, explain. But he gets to just say it. He gets to just say these truths without any proofs. Wow. Let's go a little bit further, guys.
And overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine, and making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are too high, and are committed to making sure that we maintain the Affordable Care Act, so everybody's got health and cares about things like education and entrepreneurship in our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person.
Yeah, Trump, he never called me out as a person. Trump has never offended me as a person. Hey, because that would require him to know who I am. And he don't know who I am. You don't know who I am. Neither does Kamala. So nobody has offended me as a person because they don't know me personally. So yeah, you with that big brain, that big Harvard law degree.
And you're thinking about sitting down? But, you know, because Pookie might be.
Oh, there goes the Pookie again. Who told Obama he had a right to shame Black people calling us Pookie? Who told him he had a right to do that? What shiftless, lazy, self-hating, self-denigrating, low-life scumbag Democrat ass kissers said Obama? Barack Hussein Obama can refer to Black Americans as Pookie. Y'all should all be ashamed of yourselves, man. I wish all y'all had black cards so I could take them. Yeah, I'd take your black card. Me and I don't know, Eddie Griffin and Corey Holcomb. We just come by and just snatch your black cards. Rizza Islam. We just all come through and take your damn black cards. I mean, this right here, folks, is
and you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses.
Yo, man, I want us to stay here for 1 second. Let me say something, man. I've been telling people, this election right here is going to be a very important election. And I know they say that all the time. They tell you how this election is going to be the most important election of your lifetime. Listen, folks, don't listen. This is important, okay? I've been thinking about this for a while, and this part of my thesis, right? I believe that this election will be a civil war, not between South and North, or North and South, or East and West, not between black and white, not that shit. No, I think it's going to be a class war between black Americans. Because what we have right now is we have a class of Americans who are fine with another class of Americans, black Americans. We got high-class black Americans, well-earning black Americans, manipulating and dumping on.
We're going to have to deal with them.
Underclass, less than rich, working class, and poor, trying to get by, trying to make a way out of a way, Americans, black Americans, every day. That room that you're in right there, that room, how many people in that room do you think are from the working class, or the lower class, or the below middle class, or the suffering class, or the struggle class? How many people do you think are part of the hurting class that are down there in that office right there in this picture? How many of them, those people standing around Obama, how many of them people come from that class of Americans? Very little. When he made the joke about Pookie, when he talked down to black people, do you think he's talking about black people with money? With lots of money? Is he talking about John Legend? Chrissy Teigen? Is he talking about Magic Irving Johnson? Is he talking about D.L. Hughley? Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley? Is he talking about Shirley Ralph? Huh? Is he talking about Oprah Winfrey or Whoopi Goldberg? Who is he talking about when he says Pookie? You gonna sit on the couch? Who do you think he's talking to? He's talking to working class black people. Working class black people trying to get off the bottom, trying to avoid the criminal industrial process, the complex, mass incarceration, school to prison pipeline, all the other barriers we have. Parents that didn't start off with nothing, therefore they have nothing to pass on to their kids. Their kids start off with less than nothing in an economy that's a much harder, tighter economy. Back at the time when I was coming up, if you had a high school degree, you could still make it. You can still make it and make six figures. Not anymore. Them jobs is gonzo. It's a class war we're looking at. And the blacks up here are laughing at us. They look down on us, Johnson. They despise us. If we don't think like them, because our lives are different than theirs, they quietly, and not so quietly as Obama's proving, look at them laughing. They know they're on film. Just for a refresher, Pookie was a poor kid, man, that ended up getting hooked on drugs. That's some taken from the movie New Jack City. It was popularized by a role that Chris Rock played in a movie called New Jack City back in 1984, I think it was. 84, 87, something like that. And Pookie started off, he was in the hood, and he started off trying to make some money, and he ends up getting hooked on drugs. And he ended up smoking drugs, crack, and becomes an addict. Not unlike a lot of white kids that become addicts. You think Obama would be repeating a white negative character from a movie and blanketing all of poor white America with that? Or is that just something that those elite blacks do to us with no regard? Insult the hell out of black poor working America, black poor working black Americans on a daily basis. And you know what I'm saying? It's what they do. So I'm trying to tell you, I believe this is all going to come to a head, Johnson. It's coming to a head. This election shows it, because there is nothing about Kamala Harris that speaks to the struggle of those people. It plays on those people. It thumbs its noses at those people. It mocks working people. Not just black, but I'm talking about black now, because that's who he's talking to. And notice his tone of who he is talking to. Look at the room. This is a room of rich black people doing well, black people not wondering if they can get to work tomorrow. And who are they mocking? Who's the butt of their jokes? Us. Who's in their way from achieving their symbolism victory? Us. Because we won't go along. You'll see it all across social media. How many of, multiple degree having black people are not going to vote for Kamala Harris? They don't need anything to happen when she gets in. They think it'll make them look better. More opportunities will open for them at their jobs. If they somehow, through the ether, they think that's going to help them in their position. That if a woman who looks black is in the most powerful position, it may help them in their jobs. Understand what I'm saying? They feel like it may rub off on them and give them some type of advantage in their corporate ladder climbing chase. Start looking around internet. Look around social media. Look around Facebook. Look around X. Look around TikTok. Pay attention to the YouTube channels that are supporting Kamala. Notice the way that they talk. Notice the way they articulate themselves. They sound like this. They sound like this. They talk like this for real. How working class are they? Huh? How working class are they? They're not working class, Johnson. We're in a class war. And as always, they beat up on the poor. They beat up on the lower class to put us in line so they can benefit. They don't care about us, they care about themselves, and we are in the way. And last thing I'll say, Johnson, these people, these elitist blacks, in some ways, they hate us more than bigots. In some ways, they hate us and despise us more than racists. Because in us, they see themselves, a reflection of themselves that they hate. And they hold us accountable for the racism that they receive. They say, it's because of these other black people, these low-class Negroes, these ninjas. They're the ones that make it bad for me. They mistake me for those low-class Negroes. I'm not like them. They despise us. That's who Obama is. That's who Kamala is. That's who Oprah is. That's who Michelle Obama is. That's who DL is. What else they gotta say? He said it. You not like us. I'm not like you. You not like me if you're not supporting Kamala. I met her. I talked to Kamala, VP Harris. We had a conversation. We talked for a while. Listen to him. Name dropping, prestige dropping, class dropping. It ain't by accident, baby. It ain't by accident. I'm going to keep it going, but I need you to smell what I'm cooking because I'm cooking with all the flavors of truth. Let me get a like on this before we continue. Give me a like. Give me a like. I'm speaking the truth, man. I've been analyzing this. I've been studying it. And Obama said the quiet part out loud. Because that Pookie trope is not about Black America. It's about poor Black America. It's about us. My dad worked construction. Blue collar. Me, I get it out the dirt right now. This is blue collar work that I do. These people don't respect us. They don't respect you till you go work at CNN or MSNBC. They look down. I met April Ryan and Yamiche Alcindor at a Politicon event. They say, who are you? I said, my name is Tim Black. They said, oh, okay. What network you work for? I said, I work for my own network. Work for myself. Then, oh, okay. Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Only person that treated me with any respect there was Shamichael Singleton, the Republican black guy. All right, guys, let's keep going. Yeah.
I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
Folks, why come we just can't feel? Maybe we just don't like Kamala Harris. Is it possible that we could just not like that particular person? You know, my oldest son had a girlfriend for a while that he was dating and things didn't work out. It's not that he doesn't like women. He didn't like that woman. Things didn't work out between them. I dated people when things didn't work out. I'm happily married now, but it's not that I didn't like women. I didn't like the other woman. We just didn't work out. Why can't it just be everyone doesn't like word salad every night for dinner? Why can't it just be we want somebody who actually stands for something, whose back isn't made a silly putty? But see, they get to just paint us with a broad brush. They get to say we don't like women. We just don't want a woman leading. No, maybe we just don't want her leading. I mean, wasn't it kind of obvious when nobody voted for her in 2019? Isn't it kind of obvious? You don't get to tell the market what the market wants. Your job is to give the market what the market wants. It's not your job to give us something we don't want and then try to shame us into wanting it. But folks, they have no choice at this point. Like I said, the title is, they're willing to risk it all because it's the fourth quarter. Hail Mary. Go long. I'm going to throw it up. Jump for it. This is Hail Mary ball. That's what this is.
And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And I think anybody you are talking to in a barbershop, anybody you are talking to in your house, in your family, at church, who is coming with that kind of attitude,
what?
I think you have to ask them,
what?
Well, how can that be? Because the women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time.
The women in your life have been getting your back this entire time, huh? Yeah. I thought it was Wall Street. I thought it was Wall Street that had your back, Barry B. Wall Street, the Wall Street money that you've been getting your entire career, brother. You ain't never turned down a lobbyist with big ties to Wall Street since you've been running. You and Joe Biden have that in common, frankly. So yeah, that's your real support system. All the lobbyist money you take. And your ties to those banks that have been padding your pockets for speeches since you left office. So we can start having real conversations where people that know something get to talk, not people who check. We don't know how you made your money, brother. Now you can see you make it. It ain't helping us. It's helping yourself. Yeah, so Obama's so it's we're gonna go to the next thing now because there's more. But the bottom line is, guys, this Obama outlet, this Obama speech, whatever this is he just did, I don't think it had the desired effect that they wanted it to have. In fact, I think somewhere Kamala sits going, hey, what the hell, man? Why'd you do that? Because this did not go over well. How many people do you think Obama really won over? No. What he did effectively, what he just did, is he caused people to argue in their homes, online, and to make people more steadfast, committed to not voting for Kamala Harris. That's what I believe. I don't believe it's a whole bunch of households where black men said, hey, we should listen to Obama. I don't think so. I think Obama hasn't read the room because he ain't been in a room for a long time. Anytime that Obama had his finger on the pulse of the black community, them days is gone. Them days is gone, baby. Over. They out of here. They out of here like ragtime, sweetie. They are gone. They're gone like auto-tune gone. It's the page has been turned, baby. It's over. It's a wrap. Senator Anita Turner is a friend of the show. And Senator Anita Turner went on Abby Phillips' show on CNN, and she spoke to this, and she did so eloquently. I get to shut up for about 2 minutes.
Other issue I want to bring up is a problem too. Why are black men being lectured to? Why are black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group? Now, a lot of love for former President Obama, but for him to single out black men is wrong. And some of the black men that I have talked to have their reasons why they want to vote a different way. And even if some of us may not like that, we have to respect it. So unless President Barack Obama is going to go out and lecture every other group of men from other identity groups, my message for Democrats is don't bring it here to black men who, by and large, don't vote much differently from black women. And why? As a politician, we should be trying to get all voters to vote. And hopefully there are a few good men out there who do care about the stripping away of some of women's bodily autonomy. But this is wrong for President Obama. It is a wrong course for the Harris-Walz campaign to lay at the feet of black men when they have their reasons. In 2020, the vice president was labeled a cop, as we know.
But do you think, sorry to interrupt you, Nina, but do you think he's right? That one of the reasons is because they don't like the idea of
it might be some listen, black men are socialized in the same society as any other man. So yes, is misogyny may be a part of it, but again, is President Obama and is the Harris-Walz campaign going to lecture other male groups in the same way that they're lecturing black?
No, they're not going to. And this white lady here, politics girl, I can't stand her commentary. And Abby, you should know better, and I had hopes for Abby initially, but it is what it is. I'm just glad she gave Nina Turner an opportunity to come on and say something different. Look, it's like this, man. Obama, he possibly would come out and say something horrible about all men because he's done it in the past, and it almost cost him his ass. He would have not have been a two-term president had Romney not been so horrible, because the numbers that Obama got in 2008 are not the numbers he got in 2012. In fact, if John McCain could have ran again, he would have took the presidency. Because by the time 2012 came around, people knew what time it is. But be that as it may, Nina Turner's absolutely right. She's absolutely right. Barack Obama's out of place with this. The only thing I would say differently is, I don't give a damn. See, once upon a time I gave a damn about, oh man, they're making all these black men, they're painting all these black men with a brush. We vote almost as powerfully or in lockstock with black women. We're the most powerful voting for Democrats, less except for black women. We're number 2, and they give us all this crap for nothing. Who cares? And you know what? I want to push back on that. That's Anita Turner specifically, just in general. And I want to say, I don't give a damn. Black people not obligated to vote for the Democratic Party. We don't give a damn about who's number 1, 2, 6, or 7. I don't give a damn. We don't owe the Democrats anything. Y'all get it twisted. The Democratic Party owes us. We got 60 years of receipts that they ain't cashed in. Now, I don't know about you, but if somebody owed me for 5 years, I'd be like, okay. Election come around 4 years, every 4 years. I give you my vote, I get nothing. I give you my vote, I get nothing. That's what's like, hold on, we need to have a talk. That's the second time I gave you my vote, you didn't give me nothing. Have a seat. That's when we start sitting down having a conversation. Now look, I work hard for my vote. It comes with my citizenship. It comes with my taxpayer money. It comes with my life. People died for me to have this vote. I'm not giving you this vote. What about this? I'm not going to give you this vote without you earning it. It got blood on it. Yeah, Black Americans, time for you to go the other way. Let's be a little bit more creative with our thought process when we hammer these fools. Why should I give you this blood-stained vote for nothing? See, we don't deserve for you to respect us because we're the number 2 voting bloc that supported the Democrats. Nah, we deserve you to respect us because we are American citizens with a First Amendment right to do what we want to do. That's why you should respect us, whether we vote Democrat, Republican, Green Party, Independent Party, or the couch. Whatever we vote for is our option, not yours. We are not your property, Democratic Party. We don't owe you a damn thing. If you want to vote, you got to earn it. Now, that's the only part I disagree with. I'm tired of us kind of being, we can't, be nice to us. Don't hit us so hard with the stick because, we really support you a lot, just not all of it. None of that. No more of that. There will be no more of that from Tim Black. No, we don't need to be coddled. And we don't need to play nice with you and try to barter with you and reason with you why we should not be shit upon. I'm going to say stop dumping on us if you're about to feel the full pain and the full power of a voting class that says, screw you.
Oh, Kamala, I forgot something. Okay. Can you stop changing your accent? Can you stop changing your accent when you get around Black people trying to sound like a Southern woman? Can you stop doing that? Because a lot of Southern folks find that to be weird. A lot of Black folks find that to be weird that you keep changing up the way you sound when you get around Black people. We don't like that. Do you think you're gonna get some support because you pretending to sound like a Southern Black woman who washes collard greens in the bathtub? Come on, people. Y'all think we stupid. Y'all think we dumb. But we're not, okay? We're not. Yeah. And if Trump and J.D. Vance is weird, then damn it, I'd rather be weird. Because I don't know what y'all are if they're weird. If they're weird, then what are y'all? 2 people who are running this country.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's your man Wise, and today we got to check out a couple clips, man. Eddie Griffin, Lord Jamar, more and more brothers are coming out against the Democratic Party, and especially Kamala Harris with her faux Black behind. I just call it how I see it. This lady, come on, man. She's come with a fake Black woman accent. The other day, she had a fake Jamaican woman accent. What is going on? But I'm so glad to see people calling it out. I'm so glad to see it. So, like, share, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, share this video via Facebook and Reddit and everywhere else. Your folks need to see this. And without further ado, let's go.
Oh, when you try to play on your fake Blackness as a way to try to influence me to with you, when you insult my intelligence like that, and then when I ask you direct questions in debates and you do your best Muhammad Ali, dodging and dipping questions and all this type of shit. You. How about that? You. I'm not you.
And
you think
then you tell people to put collard greens in the tub. I wash collard greens in the tub.
So did mama.
You think
But I'm just saying, like, I don't know no Black people that do no dirty shit
no,
like
but
that.
I'm saying
sorry.
either way, why is it
in the
collard
tub?
greens? Why are we talking about collard greens?
Because you want to
talk about
appeal to
Vindaloo.
your Blackness.
Talk about Vindaloo.
Right. Talk about
Saad
7-Eleven. Talk about
non bread.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Talk about Dunkin' Donuts and
Talk
all
about
that. Talk about the spelling bee and
you
how
was
we
making.
dominate spelling bee.
Exactly.
Talk about
Kamala.
Kamala didn't play no Indian music.
You see, that's how you say the name.
Black people.
Hey, that's how you say the Kamala. That's how you say her fucking name.
My real name is Kala Malavita.
You see?
My real name is Kala Malavita.
These guys are crazy, yo. Oh my God. No, we know Godfrey a fool with it. That dude, I love his comedy, man. That dude's hilarious. His impressions are spot on, spot on. But Lord Jamar is absolutely right. But Democrats have been doing this for a long time. They've been doing this for a long time, playing in black folks' faces, coming with the fake accents, acting like they go to church, acting like they know gospel songs. This is what they do. The unfortunate part is you got a lot of black folks that also participate in this foolishness and they believe it. The brother right there with the black shirt on right there, he was trying to make excuses for it. He, out of his mouth, was about to say, well, my mama, she washed her greens in the tub too. His mama was going to cuss him out. You said, what? We ain't never did no dirty, nasty stuff like that. Like, you come on, man. Really? Black folks is washing food of any type in a tub where people get in there and scrub their behinds? Come on, man. Stop the foolishness. Stop it. People aren't falling for it. Now, you got a lot of sisters that are going to support it because they think that she's a black woman and we got to support the black woman. We got to. You got a lot of brothers that's looking at policy over identity politics. We ain't supporting you just because you say you something. We've already done that. It didn't work out well for us. We've already tried that. See Barack Obama's 8 years. We've tried that already. It did not work. People put Biden in office on the strength of Barack Obama. How has that worked out for us over these past 4 years? Folks are destitute right now. People are struggling right now. Life is tougher today than it was during the Trump administration. And that is a fact. Let's keep going.
Ian Harris, Kalyan Harris. Look at it. This woman want to play black so bad. She went and erased her grandmama and replaced her grandmama.
As you can see there, it says that she died in July of 1960. And so this is a huge scandal.
And her fake grandmama is this black woman who died.
I bet you Roland Martin and D.L. Hughley don't call out Eddie Griffin like they did everybody else.
4 years before she was born. But in her book, she got a picture standing next to this dead woman with a smile on her face. I wonder how that happened.
Grandma Beryl died in 1960, 4 years before Kamala Harris was born.
You gonna deny your real grandmama being up, showing up at your inauguration if you happen to get elected? Everybody talk to you. Don't like it. Ain't nobody gonna vote for you. Here's your choices, America. The liar or the crook. I think I might be going with the crook, goddammit. Yeah, the crook. He's got a lot of in him, y'all. He got 3 baby mamas, 43 felony cases and count. Selling high-top tennis shoes just like Michael Jordan. Got shot just like Tupac. The motherfucker gonna drop an album next. We'll be right back. So I don't know what the you thinking of.
This dude said Trump about to drop an album. Oh, hey, Eddie Griffin a fool with it.
Voting for Kamala. She's a puppet, y'all. Has zero experience. Nobody respects her on the world stage. You motherfucker crazy. Think they're gonna be in charge? You know what's gonna be in charge? The government that just put a hurricane and killed American citizens. And now the Fed's saying there's no money left to respond to hurricanes. But there's plenty of money to send weapons and bombs and more money over to fucking Ukraine and Taiwan and everywhere goddamn else. All you federal motherfuckers. Charity starts at home.
Eddie Griffin's absolutely right. We have to prioritize America and Americans first. We have to. He's absolutely right. I love the term, man, Kalyan. I hadn't heard that one before. That's a new one. Y'all know we heard the dude called her counterfeit, a couple months back. Dude called her counterfeit. A lot of people called her chameleon. She's showing herself to be that chameleon. She tries to adjust accent and everything, depending on who she's sitting in front of. Nobody trusts her on the world stage. Nobody. She out of her own mouth said she went over to Ukraine to try to negotiate. 3 days later, when she gets back, they in full-blown war over there. This is not the person that we can trust to lead this nation. No, she would be another puppet in chief. Simple as that. We just can't afford it, man. We can't afford another 4 years of this. We just can't. There is no telling what this country will be in 4 years if we get another 4 years of daggone Kamala Harris. We would be in trouble. I'm so glad to see people starting to step up and speak out. Politicians, people in politics doing the same, stepping up and starting to speak out because it's needed. We're getting really, really close, man. We're less than 30 days away from this election. And I'm so glad to see people, you know, like a Lord Jamar, who has a following, been in the hip hop game for a long time, like, you know, a Godfrey, like a comedian, Eddie Griffin, and so many other folks out there are finally waking up and saying, nope, we can't support this.
Ohio, Cincinnati, Lexington, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. Don't go anywhere else. Hey, so there's a new ad out for Kamala Harris, and it's as cringe can be. Here we go.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
No. But you're a man? Thank you. Because honestly, I didn't know. Nope.
The first guy I did not know.
No, did not. This guy did not know.
Because I wouldn't want to be embarrassed. I'm a man.
I'm a man.
That guy's a man. Just so you know, that guy, this guy is a man.
I'm a man.
He's a man.
I'm a man.
I'm a man, man, and I'm man enough.
I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Neat.
Man enough to cook my steak rare.
First of all, cooking your steak rare. What are you, a dog? You're supposed to cook. You cook your steak medium rare.
Yeah.
To be considered a human man.
Yeah.
You know, there's infinite genders, but there's only one way to cook a steak to be a human man, and that's
Goddamn
medium rare.
right. Goddamn right, Jimmy.
Okay. All right. All right. By the way, this guy is okay. He's a man, just so you know.
I'm a man.
That's a man.
I'm a man.
I'm a man, man, and I'm man enough.
I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Neat.
Man enough to cook my steak rare.
Man enough to deadlift 500, then braid the out of my daughter's hair.
You think I'm afraid to rebuild a carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast.
What? How much syrup you putting on that carburetor? I didn't think you were afraid to fix a carburetor. Personally, I'm afraid to eat a carburetor. And I'm not afraid to say that. I'm man enough to say I'm afraid to eat a carburetor. And I'm terrified of having to shit one out. Okay. Okay, there's more to this.
I ain't afraid of bears. That's what bear hugs are for.
I'll tell you another thing.
Wait, what? That's what bear hug. Okay, that's what bear hugs are for. Okay, honest question: is that gay innuendo, or did this just turn into a Old Spice commercial?
Yeah, this is like one of those manly deodorants. It's really all over the place.
I'm not afraid of women. I'm not afraid of women.
I'm not afraid of women. They want to control their bodies. I say go for it.
They want to use IVF to start a family. I'm not afraid of families.
They want to be childless cat ladies. Have all the cats you want.
Woman wants to be president.
Well, I hope she has the guts to look me right in the eye and accept my full-throated endorsement.
You know, like Kamala did to Willie Brown. Come on, kidding. Come on, she was beard. We're having fun. Come on, come on. All right.
Because I'm man enough to support women.
Man enough to know what kind of donuts I like.
Man enough to admit I'm lost, even when I refuse to ask for directions.
What? What does that even mean? Don't you have a phone? It comes with directions. Get Waze. What are you talking about? Who wrote this commercial? An elderly cat lady who used to be an elderly cat man?
What a bizarre.
What a bizarre. This is
man enough to not ban young women from reading Little Women.
Or one of those pants books that the sisters like.
I'm man enough to raw dog a flight. It sucked. Not worth it. I'm man enough to be emotional.
You said I'm man enough to raw dog a flight. I don't even know what that means. Do you know what that means, Misha? Do you know what that means? That's what I thought.
He wants to raw dog what?
A fight or a flight? I don't know what. Let me back it up.
Books that the sisters like.
I'm man enough to raw dog a flight.
What does that mean?
Oh my God. It means foregoing any of the in-flight perks, no in-flight entertainment or snacks or beverages, and in the most extreme cases, no drinking water or napping. So this is some weird, I guess, Zoomer talk. I've never heard of this.
I've never heard this either. Okay, so this
Forbes
is
says it's
it's
a
like he's
trend, though.
flying Spirit Airlines and he doesn't want to pay for anything.
I don't think no one's man enough for that. Okay,
It sucked. Not worth it. I'm man enough to be emotional in front of my wife.
In front of my kids.
In front of my horse.
I'm man enough to tell you that I cry at Love Actually.
Good Will Hunting.
West Side Story. That and Predator.
And I'm sick of so-called men domineering, belittling, and controlling women just so they can feel more powerful.
Boy, does this guy look uncomfortable saying all this stuff too? Is it, could they look stiffer and more like they're reading it? Because they are. By the way, and all these guys got paid to say this. They didn't show up for free.
I'm man enough to say these crap lines and look
Yeah.
like a complete idiot. Hey, what do you mean showing emotion in front of his horse? That sounds like Vosh talk to me.
I'm man enough to dress like a stuffed animal and blow a total stranger.
I'm man enough to use a glory hole, even though I don't know what's on the other side.
I'm mad enough to start crying when an old lady in front of me pulls out coupons at Ralph's.
That is manly. Wait,
I'm mad enough, Kurt, to watch another man pleasure my wife.
While I'm handcuffed to a toilet wearing a T-shirt that says I'm with her.
I'm mad enough to take an entire forearm inside my body.
I'm man enough to take a paddleboarding excursion with my lover Barack Obama.
This is a real commercial. Let's watch.
That's not how my mama raised me.
I love women.
I love women who support their families.
Wait,
guys who have
your mama raise you as a girl, then you got the operation. That's what I think.
I love women. No, really, I do. That's what it sounds like. Who says that?
It sounds like Jay-Z rapping.
Yeah.
Women who decide not to have families.
Women who take charge.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
They're laughing at you.
Wow.
Even
You think those are
Kamala
real
and Tim are
farmers?
laughing.
No, I don't. Here's what Tim Pool said. Holy F, it's like Kamala never met a man before.
That's a trans man, I believe, currently. I think they actually were that stupid that they did their man commercial and they picked like a
Trans man?
Because
Trans men
first
are
of all,
men.
You cry at Love Actually? What?
What?
Have you ever seen Love Actually?
I've seen it. That's not a crier. Not a tearjerker.
Oh, wait, did you pay to see it? Maybe that's why. Maybe
Oh.
you paid good money.
It's a really good film.
I cried at Love Actually.
Dude, Love Actually is insane. It's one of the, actually, I want to watch it and laugh at it.
Jimmy, that's the film Love Actually that we watched that we were so upset about because every woman is
Economically lower than the guy she's in love with, right?
Yes.
It's all that Cinderella. They're rescuing her.
except Emma Thompson. She's the woman that has like substance and her husband has an affair.
and her husband
on her.
has an affair on her.
Wait, what about the part where Liam's in the single straight assuming dad helps his 9-year-old son? This is pre 9/11. This movie helps he's really worried about his son's like 11-year-old romance, and he goes, "You know what we need right now? Kate and Leo." And then they watch Titanic together. Remember that?
Oh my God!
Love Actually is the most appalling British. In fact, when I go back and look at it, they used to always talk about how batshit that movie is, but now the most like idiotic shit you see in socially, Love Actually, England really is a source of a lot of awful. We've imported awful over there, but they did it first to us.
That is amazing in that movie. I remember that now. We noticed like every romance in that movie was a guy of economic means and a woman who didn't have. It was like a successful writer and a waitress, and it was like the
Prime Minister,
the prime minister and a secretary.
How about the
And then-
straight guy
and then the one
gay
wo-
guy changes him? Remember that one?
No.
Yeah, the rock singer and the gay guy's in love with him. And how about the girl that's married to a black guy and the other dude is like outside his house with signs?
Oh,
trying
that
to
was
woo
that
her away.
movie.
I like
That's
that
Love
part.
Actually.
Steph, you like that part?
We used to have a joke about that. I'll tell you
That
later.
was what's his name? Kanye. It's when Pete Davidson wooing Kim.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but the movie's insane.
So
It's
this
like
guy's
breaking
in
up a
love with
marriage.
this guy's in love with his best friend's girl, and he shows up with all these cards saying how much he loves her, but he's not going to do anything because it's his best friend. So why'd you want to tell her that for the rest of your life?
I forgot that part, Jimmy.
No, it's because it was Christmas Eve, and that's what you're supposed to do. Am I right
That's
about
disgusting.
that, Misha?
That movie is disgusting on every level. If you go back and look at it now, you're like, everything about this is
If
the
I found out
grossest
my
thing.
best friend came over with cards made up for my wife to tell her how much he loved, we wouldn't be best friends anymore. We'd be like, what that's wrong with you?
I'd be like more bewildered than angry, but I also be like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, what is wrong with you?
You put cards like you're online, like a little girl online.
So there you have it. Those are the men willing to vote for Kamala Harris this election season. That's all of them. That's it. And you had to pay him to do it. Nobody showed up to do this one for free. I'm telling you.
Can we watch it all the way through one more time? Just
Okay.
all the way through.
Okay.
Because it's so wonderful.
I'm a man.
I'm a man. I'm a man. And I'm man enough. I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Wait, I thought he when he said it, I'm a diabetic. That's what I thought he was going to say.
Yeah.
Well,
I was
no.
going, wait, is that yeah?
All their poses too. Hold your pose. Hold your pose.
What? Watch how awkward they all are. Very stiff. What?
But manly.
I'm a man.
I'm a man. I'm a man. And I'm man enough. I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon. Neat. Man enough to cook my steak rare. Man enough to deadlift 500, then braid the out of my daughter's hair.
You think I'm afraid to rebuild a carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast.
I ain't afraid of bears. That's what bear hugs are for.
I'll tell you another thing I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women.
I'm not afraid of women. I'm not afraid of women. They want to control their bodies. I say go for it.
They want to use IVF to start a family? I'm not afraid of families.
They want to be childless cat ladies. Have all the cats you want.
Woman wants to be president?
Well, I hope she has the guts to look me right in the eye and accept my
What's that
full-throated
pose?
He's gay.
I'm man enough to
That is the gayest
I'm
looking
telling
pose.
you, every
That is-
pose.
I'll give a full-throated
And I
look
want-
at it in the eye contact. Full throat.
He's sitting on
They're
the
all
end of a truck bed. Very cash.
These are all gay. They're all gay.
I would
All
say
of them.
I'm going to say half these guys. That doesn't make them less
No,
of a
the rest
man.
are bears.
Doesn't make
No,
them
it
less of a
doesn't.
man just because they're gay.
No, but what it means is here's why I'm saying they're gay is it sounds like somebody who has never been traditionally masculine making up things about men. You know, men, we like to make our steak raw, and then we like to give full-throated support. And we say you know how us men love cat ladies, especially for president.
I like to eat a carburetor for breakfast. First of all, cars haven't had carburetors for 30 years.
Well, I eat them. That's good because I'd like to eat another one. A man, and I do manly things like that.
I deadlift 500 pounds, then I braid the shit out of my daughter's hair. What?
Come
why
on.
Why would you refer to it like braiding the shit out of what? Because that's what man does. If you're that manly, you would do a bad job doing a girl's hair.
Right. I braid my daughter's hair. It's a terrible job, and she doesn't ask me to do it ever again.
Ever
That's the
again.
thing a man
That's
might
right.
say.
Yeah.
He wouldn't say I braid the shit out. You know what a gay guy would say? I braided the shit out of my daughter's hair. That's what a gay man would say. That's a Diddy party dude right there. That's a guy with 1,000 bottles of baby oil in his weight room.
Okay, over to stuff.
Oh no, you didn't finish it.
Oh, want me to finish
I
it?
like it.
All
Just
right.
rewind it
All
a
right.
little bit.
Let's see
Okay, good.
I'm a man.
I'm a man. I'm a man. And I'm man enough. I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon. Neat. Man enough to cook my steak rare. Man enough to deadlift 500, then braid
There's something unbelievably.
I know. I've been watching it the
There's
whole
something
time.
unbelievably feminine about that guy.
Yeah, he's really acting
he's
a lot.
preening.
He's like, okay, I'm a straight man. Here I am at a farm.
I can't. And you know this guy. How many times he had to say barrel proof? Oh damn!
Dude, he's a bear. That's okay.
Oh, he's a bear.
I'm man enough. I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Oh God!
Bear.
I got it, nailed it.
I don't even know what that is. I drink White Claws.
Barrel proof bourbon. Okay, here we go. He is a bear.
He's a barrel, is what he looks
Man
like.
enough to cook my steak rare.
Really?
Oh, that's the thing men say. Are you man enough to eat raw meat like a fucking wolf?
Why would you have your hands like that? Like you're taking a senior class photo. All right, put your hand. Right? It's like what do you?
Because that's manly.
He even
I
his
put
whole
2 hands on my hip and I say, I give my full-throated support the way I deep-throated a steak last night like a man.
I put my hand on my hip when you
And
dip,
we
dip, I dip.
Now, the other skinny guy is a bottom too, but he's a better actor. The other skinny guy.
Yeah.
And the black guy's gay, by the way. Black guy's also gay.
Yes.
That overly masculine thing, that's a gay man. Just so you know how to spot him.
Are we gonna get in trouble for this?
For telling the truth about. I'm proud of all of them for their gayness. I hope you.
Yeah,
don't think
me
I'm taking
too.
away.
Nothing wrong with it. Look
I'm
at
just
him.
like-
Look at this. Hey, you can hear him go. You can hear him. He's gonna
Look,
go.
Why not? Why come at me on like a masculine? I'm so masculine. You guys are into. It sounds like in the 40-year-old virgin where he's like, her boob felt like a bag of sand.
Yeah.
And they're like, have you ever been with a woman? That is what it comes off as. It comes off as somebody gay pretending to be a caricature of what they think.
A caricature. Yeah.
It's insulting to straight men. I don't care you're gay. This is insane.
He looks like he's about to go.
The full-throated support. By the way, they all have to turn into Mae West by the end of this commercial. Watch. Oh my God!
Man
they
enough
love
to
double
deadlift
entendre.
500, then braid the out of my daughter's hair.
You think I'm afraid to rebuild a carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast.
No.
I ain't afraid
Ew.
of bears. That's what bear hugs are for.
I'll tell you
Oh,
another
God.
thing I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women.
I'm not afraid of women. I'm not afraid of women. They want to control their bodies? I say go for it.
They want to use IVF to start a family? I'm not afraid of families.
They want to be childless cat ladies? Have all the cats you want.
Woman wants to be president?
Well, I hope she has the guts to look me right in the eye and accept my full-throated endorsement.
Because I'm man enough to support women.
Man enough to know what kind of donuts. Man enough to admit I'm
Oh.
lost.
Is that code for
Did you
something?
hear that?
Man enough to
Donut.
know what kind of donuts I like. What is that?
It's
Got
the
to be.
whole, I told you, it's all double entendre Mae West shit they're doing. Yeah, what kind of donuts? Justin Bieber's?
You stick the dildo right in the donut. That's what I do.
I know what kind of donuts I like. Why don't you come up and see? Dude, I'm man enough to hang out with the other guys in this commercial and have a real late party at Diddy's house. Are you?
This is hilarious. This is the funniest guy. This is.
I don't. Women can do whatever they want. I'm not into women.
What kind of donuts I like. Man enough to admit I'm lost, even when I refuse to ask for directions.
Man enough to not ban young women from reading Little Women.
Or one of those pants books that the sisters like.
I'm man enough to raw.
Like
What?
you can see the bad acting on all of the make it more masculine. Okay. That's what it seems like, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Did someone ban women reading Little Women? Is that a real thing that happened? Is that based on something?
I don't know.
Okay, most women don't.
Ban young women from reading Little Women.
Or one of those pants books that the sisters like.
I'm man enough to raw dog a
What?
One of those
One of
pants
those
books
pants
that
books.
sisters like. Like
I didn't read it personally. I don't know anything about the Traveling Pants or how it was a great movie. And I didn't buy a sidekick after I saw it because that movie affected my life. And I one time shared pants with a bunch of sisters. I've never heard of that because I'm a man.
I think donuts are code for Hillary voter.
Yeah, that's what I call them. You donut.
I know what kind of donuts I like. Okay.
It sucked. Not worth it.
I'm man enough to be emotional in front of my wife. In front of my kids.
In front of my horse.
What?
I'm man
What
enough
are you,
to tell you
Cenk
that
Uygur? What are you talking about?
Oh, this is Cenk Uygur, the last guy here? Is that Cenk?
No, the guy wants to be emotional in front of his horse.
This is Cenk's body double here doing this last bit. I'm a brawler.
of Actually.
Goodwill Hunting.
West Side Story. That and Predator.
And I'm sick of so-called men domineering, belittling, and controlling women just so they can
Look
feel
casual.
more powerful.
Just so they-
That's not how my mama raised me.
I love women.
I love women. I love all women.
That's not how my mama raised me.
That is the worst. This is some of the worst. I mean,
Is this kind of how you remember Kids in the Hall when Scott Thompson would be like a funny fake straight guy? This is like Scott Thompson wrote
Yes.
this as a joke.
yes, as a
You know,
joke.
men are always sticking their thumb in their pocket.
Support their families.
Women who decide not to have families.
Women who take charge.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
Win what? Wait, presidency?
I think so.
I love that they're aiming at like, okay, you're talking about being a man enough and this and that. Like, how could you be this divorced from what any actual man, gay or straight, who's not rich, is worried about? If I was a gay man, by the way, a gay guy watching this would be tearing it apart way worse than you and I would.
I think you're right.
Okay,
Wait till Dylan Mulvaney sees this.
Yeah, this is so bad that I don't even need a gay friend to point out that they're secretly gay, like I normally would have, where a gay friend go, "Oh, he's gay." I'm like, "No, he's really." You know how normally a gay guy points out to you?
Yeah,
that is so flagrant. I don't even need gay help with the gaydar on that one.
I'm sorry, I couldn't play it all the way through without stopping. It's so hilarious.
I loved it.
All right,
no, it's great.
Did you see the end? It says "man up."
Is that
it
what
says?
it
Man
says?
up and vote.
It says "man up."
Yeah, at the very end with Kamala. You can watch it again.
I'm
Nobody's
a
gonna
man.
hate you.
I'm a man. I'm a man, and I'm man enough. I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon. Neat. Man enough to cook my steak rare. Man enough to deadlift 500 and bring the out of my daughter's hair.
You think I'm afraid to rebuild a carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast.
I ain't afraid of bears. That's what bear hugs are for.
I'll tell you another thing I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women.
I'm not afraid of women. I'm not afraid of women. They want to control their bodies? I say go for it.
They want to use IVF to start a family? I'm not afraid of families.
They want to be childless cat ladies? Have all the cats you want.
Woman wants to be president?
Well, I hope she has the guts to look me right in the eye.
Because I'm man enough to support women.
Man enough to know what kind of donuts I like. Man enough to admit I'm lost, even when I refuse to ask for directions.
Man enough to not ban young women from reading Little Women.
Or one of those pants books that the sisters like.
I'm man enough to raw dog a flight. It sucked. Not worth it.
I'm man enough to be emotional in front of my wife. In front of my kids.
In front of my horse.
I'm man enough to tell you that I cry at Love Actually.
Good Will Hunting.
West Side Story. That and Predator.
And I'm sick of so-called men domineering, belittling, and controlling women just so they can feel more powerful.
That's not how my mama raised me.
I love women.
I love women who support their families.
Women who decide not to have families.
Women who take charge.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
Look, Jimmy, man up.
Man up.
Oh my dear God.
It sounded to me like you said, I support women who want to use IDF to have a family. I don't think that's
I don't
right.
give a.
I don't know.
I'm speechless, Jimmy. I don't even understand like what they're thinking and how. You know what it is? It's not that. I get that this is stupid, but how could you be on TV all bewildered that it's not going better? I mean, they're bewildered. But we said woman, and we say the black woman, and then that should be. I don't understand.
Hey, come see us on Tuesday.
Well, folks, I think Sagar and Jetty really did it this time, to the point where even Breaking Point's viewers in the comment section of this video are really going after Sagar. And I've never seen this before with Breaking Points. A lot of times the comments tend to attack Crystal or disagree with Crystal, but this time they're really coming after Sagar, and with good reason. I told you a couple of days ago about Ta-Nehisi Coates. He was a guest on CBS this morning talking about his new book, The Message, where he discusses Israel as an apartheid state and what he experienced when he went to Israel following a Palestinian family. And there was a lot of pressure from one of the hosts on the show, Tony Dukapil, who was pushing back and saying, oh, it just sounds like you're bashing Israel, etc. I told you a little bit about Tony, and I showed you that Tony has 2 of his kids that live in Israel. And so just keep that in mind when you watch that full interview. But Ta-Nehisi Coates said, as a product of Jim Crow, why should I support an apartheid state? Either we're against apartheid or we're not. And I agree with Ta-Nehisi Coates about that. Well, apparently, Sagar and Jetty had some pretty cringe comments to say about that appearance. Let's go ahead and get into this clip here, and hold on to your horses, because we're going to have to roast him for this one.
Part of what his book doesn't say, you know, he's an excellent writer. It's well written. It's, you know, extraordinarily provocative not provocative, but evocative in terms of taking you into the life of a Palestinian, you know, living in Israel or living in the occupied territories. So it's important, but it's not really new ground. What makes it incredibly important is because of who he is and the fact that he's allowed into these rooms. So that was the opening question out of the gate. I have another clip that I'm going to show you, which is basically the rest of the interview. Also, these formats of like 5-minute interviews are so absurd, but I want to get your reaction to that before we move on.
I just thought it was wild. That's a wild thing to say. As I literally said, I don't like Ta-Nehisi Coates. I genuinely I think he might be the godfather of a lot of the race problems that we have today. That's not an exaggeration in terms of that essay, The Case for Reparations, single-handedly radicalized every white girl on a college campus who eventually ended up working at the New York Times.
Pause. So I don't care if you like Ta-Nehisi Coates or not. I don't even know the dude. So I don't care if you like him or agree or disagree. That's not the point. For Saagar Enjeti to sit there and to say that he blames Ta-Nehisi Coates for racism in this country, not the institutions that exist, not the criminal justice system, not the policing system, not the education system, not redlining, not real estate discrimination, none of those things, but Ta-Nehisi Coates. It's all his fault, according to Saagar Enjeti. He also seems to be very frustrated by the fact that Ta-Nehisi Coates wrote this, you know, this paper about the case for reparations, and Saagar, that bothers him for some reason. And you know what's interesting about this is that I don't see Saagar making the same statement about any other group that received reparations in this country. I don't see him making this state about Japanese Americans that were part of the internment camps and their descendants that received cash reparations and their descendants. I don't see him making that argument. I don't see Saagar Enjeti making this argument about Holocaust survivors who have received reparations. And again, both of those groups deserve repair. Both of those groups deserve reparations. But for some reason, whenever the topic is, you know, American descendants of slavery receiving reparations, Saagar has a problem with that. He only has a problem with us getting it or even discussing it. It's a problem. Saagar is mad at Ta-Nehisi Coates because he feels like Ta-Nehisi Coates is the reason why white liberal women on college campuses became woke. Why is Saagar so concerned about what white women did? Well, why do you care? Why are you focused on that? What? Let's go on. We'll go back just a little bit because I cut him off a little.
That's a wild thing to say. As I literally said, I don't like Ta-Nehisi Coates. I genuinely I think he might be the godfather of a lot of the race problems that we have today. That's not an exaggeration in terms of that essay, The Case for Reparations, single-handedly radicalized every white girl on a college campus who eventually ended up working at the New York Times, behest of the BLM movement, of all this other nonsense that we have today. So I really do find him a villain in American politics.
Pause. So he considers BLM nonsense. So again, with BLM, there's two different groups here. There's BLM Global Network. That's the one that profited off of these police killings, etc. But that was the second group. The original BLM was a grassroots movement. In fact, Cornel West's running mate was one of the founders of that movement. I've interviewed her on the show about that. So these are two different things. So when people just say BLM, I'm like, which one are you talking about, right? But he's like, that nonsense. But when Saagar says nonsense, he's not referring to the the capital that came along with BLM Global Network. He just thinks talking about race in general, and particularly for Black people, it just seems to bother Saagar for some reason. He seems to see that this is a problem. And see, I point to people like Saagar because I want to make a point. People will point to Saagar and Jetty and they'll see us all in one group. If we worked at the same company or we worked in the same office, we are the people of color. But Saagar and Jetty would never try to align himself with someone like me. He wouldn't align himself with the Black coworkers. He would align himself with the white coworkers. And I've said this before about Saagar and Jetty, that he is anti-Black. For people who don't understand what that means, let me make that very clear. Almost everything that he has to say about Black people, particularly in this country, whenever we talk about struggle, whenever we talk about oppression, racism, etc., he's always negative about it or against it. That is being anti-Black. I don't see him push back against other groups in this way. And so for people to come and people will say, well, he's a conservative. Yeah, I know white people who are conservative that aren't like this. That's an excuse. Saagar and Jetty made a decision a long time ago, and he decided, like many people who were in his position, that they would try to align themselves closer to whiteness because that is what is going to benefit them in the long run. I've told people this before, and friends of mine have explained this very well. What people have to understand, when people immigrate to this country, whether they are a person of color or not, their goal is to achieve the American dream. Now, some of you guys are like, well, we're all trying to do that. Yeah, but let me get there. We're going to get there. Their goal is to achieve the American dream when they come here. And to them, the best way of doing that is to look and see who is doing well in this country. And people are told this before they even get here. That's what people have to understand. I know my friend told me all of it, revealed it all to me. So I know. So when they come, they see who's doing the best here, white Americans. So in order to achieve the American dream, they see that they need to align themselves with the group that is doing the best economically in this country. So that's what they strive to do. They're not trying to align with us. Now, you don't have to align with us, but to say that our struggle or talking about struggle or talking about race and what we've experienced in this country is nonsense and is ridiculous. Yeah, you sound anti-Black to me, Saagar. And I don't need to listen to Ta-Nehisi Coates to point that out. It's your rhetoric. The same rhetoric that he had during the George Floyd protest. And I honestly don't understand how Crystal can just sit right there next to him knowing he has these views. It just like that to me is just mind-boggling. So let me ask you a question. And if you look up his background, you would see, has Saagar and Jetty been in a position in this country where he's had to struggle financially? Does he come from a lower income family? Does he come from a poor family? No. So he is already a step ahead of a lot of you when he came here because his family was in a class that yours was not. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So he already has that going for him. Let's continue.
That said, I don't even like him, and I would not open with a question like that because that's wild. It would be an interrogation of the book itself, and not to say something like that would belong. What did he say? In an extremist?
The backpack of an extremist.
That's an insane thing to say, and especially considering that guy didn't disclose a lot of his own biases whenever it comes to Israel. So that's another problem, I think, that was going into that. What, you want to listen to the rest of it?
Yeah. I mean,
let me answer this for a second. I understand that he was born in the U.S., but his family immigrated here. So what I am saying is that oftentimes when they come here, in particular, depending on what caste system his family is from, they are already a step ahead of a lot of us. I said the same thing about Vivek Ramaswamy. This is what a lot of people don't understand. Vivek Ramaswamy went around telling the country that his parents came here with nothing. That was a lie. His parents came here with college degrees, and his parents came here with enough money to be able to get housing. Some of you can't get housing. Some of you living with other people because you can't afford to get housing. So think about that for a second. And I hear a lot of people make this statement. My parents came here with nothing. No, a lot of these people's parents came here with college degrees. So they were already ahead of you.
And I just want to respond a little bit to
Sure, go. Yeah,
I mean, I disagree with the race pessimist view. But I don't know, to be so like call him a villain and evil and like causing every racial problem in America is crazy.
Oh, hold on.
That essay was the godfather of the anti-racist movement.
I mean, he's allowed to have a perspective and write what he wants. That doesn't make him a villain.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And to acknowledge that, like, racism in America and that.
Let's pause. So Crystal told him that this doesn't make him a villain. She said that Ta-Nehisi Coates can write about whatever he wants. That doesn't make him a villain. Sagar and Jetty goes, yes, it does. I thought Sagar and Jetty was for free speech. I thought that was supposed to be, isn't that like a thing? Like, I don't understand this. Yes, it does. It does make him a villain. It makes him a villain because he's writing about his experiences. Ta-Nehisi Coates is a black man. Like, don't get it twisted. Yes, he is a part of a certain class that I'm not a part of. Yes, he is very well known. He can rub elbows with people in circles that I would never be in the same room with. Yes. But at the end of the day, Ta-Nehisi Coates is still a black man. And his experience living in this country is going to be different than Sagar's experience. Sagar seems to have a problem admitting that. This doesn't make this guy evil, man. Ay, ay, ay.
This continues to be a legacy that matters today. There's not that's a noble thing to do. So the fact he comes to a different conclusion than you or I, of course it's noble. No. That he comes to a different conclusion than you or I don't know, you're villainizing him in a way that's not that different from the way Tony DeCoppolo is here on CBS.
I would say to his face, and I also wouldn't call him an extremist. I would say, I think your case for reparations was the reason that we have all this DEI bullshit, and that you effectively radicalized a bunch of white liberals into thinking that racism is the single biggest problem in American life.
Pause. So let me tell you where the DEI stuff came from. Jesus Christ. When I was working at Boston University, that was when George Floyd was murdered, right? So that was also during the pandemic and all that stuff. I know we don't want to do a flashback, but sometimes we got to go back there. And we had the lockdown. So it was a very tough time. It was after the George Floyd protest. That was when Boston University, the president of BU, and it was actually Ibram Kendi, and I've talked about Professor Kendi on the show before. And look, I've had criticisms for Professor Kendi. That was when they got together and they decided that they were going to host this summit. It was a webinar university-wide, and that was when they started implementing the diversity and inclusion offices more rapidly throughout the university. However, prior to George Floyd, we already had an Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. That already existed prior to Ta-Nehisi Coates' reparations essay and prior to the murder of George Floyd. However, after George Floyd, they did increase those positions throughout the campus. So this is something I think, again, Sagar has been doing this show for quite some time. And before Breaking Points, Crystal and Sagar were on the Hill Rising. So Sagar hasn't been, I guess we would particularly say, in the regular, day-to-day work environment for quite some time. But diversity, equity, inclusion offices already existed prior to George Floyd. So I want to be very clear about that. Aye, aye, aye.
Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Over, the police that murdered George Floyd, over Donald Trump and all of his many provocations. I mean, I just think that to lay the blame at the feet of one person is sort of insane.
Coates' case for reparations, again, is what radicalized a bunch of white liberals into thinking that burning the country down because a single cop murdered George Floyd.
Why do you care? Why does he seem to be bothered by the fact that it was white people who were radicalized? Like, why does he keep saying white people were radicalized? You know, some people say that they were radicalized after Bernie 2016. I didn't see, you know, Sagar pointing fingers at people that were supporting Bernie. I mean, they talked about Bernie often on The Hill Rising when Crystal and Sagar were on Rising. So I just don't, why does he keep bringing up it? Am I alone? Am I alone here? Ancient Crustacean said, it's so weird. It is weird. Why do you keep bringing up white people became radicalized? Why does that bother you? Why do you care? Ay, ay, ay.
Was a good idea. Or for everybody to start quoting Martin Luther King.
Oh, hold on. We got to come back to that part. Hold on. We're going to come back to the
all of his many provocations. I mean, I just think that to like lay the blame at the feet of one person is sort of insane.
Ta-Nehisi case for reparations, again, is what radicalized a bunch of white liberals into thinking that burning the country down because a single cop murdered George Floyd was a good idea. Or for everybody to start quoting Martin Luther King.
Quoting Martin Luther King. I don't know why it stops there. Sorry.
Burning the country down because a single cop murdered George Floyd was a good idea. Or for everybody to start quoting Martin Luther King.
Quoting Martin Luther King. Let me close one of the tabs so that'll stop buffering. Everybody started quoting Martin Luther King according to Sagar and Jetty. Let's see if we can. Oh boy, quoting Martin Luther King. Sorry, let's go back. Let me see if I can get it now. Okay, because I got a point with the Martin Luther King thing.
You're on CBS.
I would say to his face, and I also wouldn't call him an extremist. I would say, I think your case for reparation basically was the reason that we have all this DEI bullshit, and that you effectively radicalized a bunch of white liberals into thinking that racism is the single biggest problem in American life.
So you would blame Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Over, the police that murdered George Floyd, over Donald Trump and all of his many provocations. I mean, I just think that to like lay the blame at the feet of one person is sort of insane.
Ta-Nehisi case for reparations, again, is what radicalized a bunch of white liberals into thinking that burning the country down because a single cop murdered George Floyd was a good idea. Or for everybody to start quoting Martin Luther King.
Okay, quoting Martin Luther King. Newsflash, people were quoting Martin Luther King way before Ta-Nehisi Coates wrote that essay about the case for reparations. People have been quoting Dr. King since I was a kid. Ever since I was a kid, people were quoting Dr. King. That's not something that people just started doing. So what kind of a bubble has Sagar and Jetty been living in? What kind of bubble did you live in that you just now realized that people were quoting Dr. King during the George Floyd protests? People have been quoting Dr. King and Malcolm X and Fred Hampton for years. But the problem is, Sagar, you are in a bubble. You're in a bubble with people like you. You're not breaking out of that bubble to talk to people who are that way. What's really, really interesting to me is, like I said, this is one of the things that I say was a failure of the progressive movement, right? So I supported Bernie Sanders, really thought we had a chance there, and I still agree with those policies. But one of the failures of the progressive movement was this idea that you were just supposed to eliminate race. And that's funny because those same people, those same commentators are now, constantly talking about what's happening to the Palestinians. We got to look out for the Palestinian people, which I talk about as well. But the difference between me and them is that even when it wasn't about the Palestinians and the genocide, I was also talking about what needs to happen for Black people in this country. What is happening to women in certain places? What's happening and I think that was the big difference. So what I noticed about the progressive movement, it seemed like to me, the moment that you would bring up issues that pertain to the Black community, that was a problem. Don't talk about that. Just focus on class. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if we just focus on class, then we would miss what Israel is doing to the Palestinian people. If we just focused on class, we would miss all the rhetoric that has come from Israel, how they call the Palestinian people animals and savages and the occupation and the oppression, if we just focused on class and we didn't focus on the goal of ethnic cleansing. So that's one of the failures of that Bernie movement. And I did, even back then, I said Bernie probably should have had a reparations plan. Nina Turner told him that. She was part of the campaign. She told him the same thing. Probably should have had that. Probably could have won more Black voters if you had a Black agenda. So the reality is, yes, is class an issue? Absolutely. But there is also issues with race in this country and in other countries, and that cannot be ignored. And Sauger, what he's telling you, the problems that he has with Ta-Nehisi Coates, what he's basically trying to tell you is he don't want to hear about it. He doesn't want to hear about Black struggle. He don't want to hear about the racial issues. He doesn't want to hear about it. Now you sit on a show with Crystal and you guys talk about what's happening to the Palestinian people almost every day since October 7th, as have a lot of us. Now you can sit there and you can listen about what's happening to the Palestinian people, but you can't sit there and listen to what's happening to Black people in this country. And that's why I call you anti-Black. I think there is one more piece here. It's it that part, sorry.
Let's go ahead and move on to the rest of this interview because this is also quite extraordinary because
I think that is the end of that part. Yeah, it's bad. But the comments. So I looked at the comments, guys. I actually did it. I usually don't, but I did this time. And I haven't sorted this at all. Sauger saying a Black author complaining about racism is single-handedly responsible for the race problems we are having today is probably single most stupid comment anyone has ever made. That comment has over 220 likes. Next comment. Is Sauger auditioning for Fox News because his take on this is outlandish? Blaming Coates for everything wrong with the current race relations, but ignoring the state of affairs in Israel is wild. That has over 107 likes. Sometimes I get caught up thinking Sauger is an okay guy, and then he reminds me he's a straight up racist, misogynist. My mistake. That has over 121 likes. Sauger literally did not respond to a single thing about what Coates was saying, nor any of Crystal's actual questions. He just repeatedly touted the same prepared Coates is a villain sentence over and over. Talk about being reactionary for the sake of being reactionary without any intellectual contribution. Sauger is a perfect example of a lack of self-awareness. This dude has benefited tremendously off the backs of the civil rights movement. What an idiot. That's another point there too, that Sauger doesn't understand. That without the civil rights movement, your family doesn't get to come here. Doesn't understand that. Sauger really believe a Black man is to blame for systemic racism in America. That has over 464 likes. Sauger is a villain for blaming a Black man for speaking against the oppression of his people instead of sympathizing and placing the blame with the perpetrators of that racism. Over 205 likes. And then we'll go with this one as well. Like I said, I did not sort these comments. People like Sauger is one of the main reasons we can't get past the situation we are in today on so many levels. I applaud anyone who has the ability to sit next to him and try to have a fair and rational conversation. I couldn't do it. After what came out of his mouth during this segment and the way it came out, I feel the same way about him that he feels about Coates, and then some. This is why it was important for me to come into this space, and my comrades over at Revolutionary Blackout Network, those of us that were a part of the Bernie movement, but we didn't have shows during that time, is because we did feel like there was a certain voices that were missing from this space, and it was being misrepresented primarily by white commentators in the space. But that was a bad look.
It seems that Western leaders are still in a state of shock from the massive Iranian missile strike on Israel, which took place on October 1, 2024. The whole world is still discussing footage of Iranian ballistic and hypersonic missiles that destroyed their intended targets live on many global news networks. Military experts and analysts are still trying to understand why Israeli and Western air defense systems were powerless against Iranian ballistic and hypersonic missiles. At the same time, it is worth noting that despite numerous videos showing Iranian missiles hitting their targets, the Israeli authorities still claim that the Israeli Air Defense Forces allegedly destroyed 99% of Iranian missiles. In addition, Tel Aviv still refuses to officially report on the damage caused to the country as a result of the massive Iranian missile attack. However, it is worth recognizing that Israel has always hidden the true extent of military losses. For example, the Israeli authorities even hid from the world community the Iraqi missile attack on Israel in 1991. Back then, the Scud missiles caused significant damage to Israel. Only a few decades later, Tel Aviv officially recognized this attack. Moreover, Israel also carefully concealed the results of Lebanon's missile attacks during the 2006 war. Against this backdrop, many experts and analysts are very skeptical about the official reports of Israeli state representatives. By the way, at a commemorative event in Ottawa, dedicated to the anniversary of the Hamas attack on Israel, the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, Pierre Poilievre, made an official statement regarding the situation in the Middle East. In particular, he called on the Israeli authorities not to postpone the attack on Iran. According to him, Israel should strike a crushing blow on the Islamic Republic of Iran as soon as possible. At the same time, the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada stressed that Israeli missiles should wipe out all Iranian nuclear facilities from the face of the earth. In his opinion, a preemptive Israeli strike on Iran's nuclear facilities will be a real gift for all mankind, since the dictatorial regime in Iran will completely lose the opportunity to create its own nuclear weapons. Well, my friends, it seems that the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, Pierre Poilievre, does not yet know that in September of this year, a powerful underground explosion was recorded in the Iranian province of Semnan. Let me remind you that back then, many seismologists announced a strange earthquake with a magnitude of 4.4 on the Richter scale. According to them, this earthquake was more like an artificial underground nuclear explosion than a natural phenomenon. Against this backdrop, many reputable experts and analysts in all seriousness said that in September of this year, in the sparsely populated area of Semnan province, Iran tested its own nuclear weapons and that very soon Tehran may officially announce its membership in the World Nuclear Club. Let me remind you that at the moment the members of this nuclear club are such countries as Russia, China, the United States, Britain, France, India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea. And judging by the incoming information, Iran may join that list shortly. By the way, the tremors in the Iranian province of Semnan were very similar to the underground nuclear tests in the Pakistani desert of Karen in 1998. Back then, world seismologists also recorded a strange earthquake with a magnitude of 4.4 on the Richter scale. And only a few months later, Islamabad officially recognized that in the Karen Desert, Pakistan had detonated its own plutonium device, equivalent to 20 kilotons of TNT. Back then, the Pakistani authorities said that this was done in response to the nuclear tests in India. The fact that Iran has acquired its own nuclear bomb was also recognized by the influential British newspaper The Times. In particular, citing their own sources in MI6 and Israeli intelligence, the journalists of this newspaper said that by the beginning of 2025, Iran will be able to acquire dozens of ready-to-use nuclear warheads. The Deputy Director General for Safeguards at the International Atomic Energy Agency, Ali Hainanen, also added oil to the fire. According to him, Iran has already received the first copy of a nuclear device. Moreover, he admitted that in 5 months Iran will receive more than 10 ready-to-use nuclear warheads. According to many experts and analysts, the war in Ukraine, the Gaza Strip, and Lebanon played into Iran's hands. They claim that while the rest of the world has been distracted by wars in these regions of the world, Iranian engineers have come close to being able to produce several types of nuclear weapons. By the way, the fact that members of Iran's ruling elite for the first time began to declare that Iran needs to possess nuclear weapons in order to better position to contain Israel, indicates that Tehran has begun to prepare the world community for the fact that Iran has become the owner of its own nuclear bomb. Meanwhile, the advisor to the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Major General Ibrahim Jabari, officially stated that during a massive Iranian missile attack on military installations throughout Israel, all the intended targets were successfully destroyed. Major General Ibrahim Jabari also explained why Israeli and Western air defense systems were unable to stop the Iranian missiles. According to him, on October 1st, Iran carried out a massive cyber attack on the central system of the Israeli air defenses. In addition, during this missile attack, Iran also used modern electronic warfare systems, which disabled a large number of Israeli radars. According to Major General Ibrahim Jabari, it is thanks to this that 90% of Iranian missiles successfully hit and destroyed intended targets. Moreover, the advisor to the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps also officially announced the destruction of a large number of Israeli fifth-generation F-35 fighter jets. According to him, during this missile attack, several hangars along with F-35 fighter jets were destroyed. Thus, the Iranian authorities officially confirmed the words of the authoritative news agency Shafagna, which on October 2, 2024, stated that during a massive Iranian missile attack, Israel lost 20 units of its fifth-generation F-35 fighter jets. Whatever it may be, it is worth recognizing that even the loss of one F-35 fighter is a serious loss for the Israeli Air Force, which uses American combat aircraft in all its military operations. Many experts are confident that the Israeli authorities will continue to hide the loss of F-35 fighter jets for many decades. According to them, Israel can officially recognize the loss of these expensive fighters only in 2040 or 2050.
Stark warning to its Arab neighbors and also the oil-rich allies of the United States, as the state of Israel is planning a massive attack on Iran. Our export tells you as to how Iran is now indulging in some urgent diplomatic efforts to reduce the scale of the Israeli attack.
I'm ready to spank these clowns.
Iran is on high alert. It has been engaging in urgent diplomatic efforts with West Asian countries to gauge whether they can reduce the scale of Israel's response to its missile attack. The uncertainty about whether the United States can convince Israel not to strike Iranian nuclear sites and oil facilities has left Tehran wondering about Netanyahu's next move. The United States has been consulting with Israel on how it plans to respond to Iran. President Joe Biden has warned Netanyahu, saying Israel's retaliation should be proportional. With United States Gulf allies expressing concern, the Biden administration is widely worried that the ongoing tit-for-tat attacks could spiral into a major regional war that pulls the United States in two. The United States' waning influence on Israel could prove to be Iran's reason to worry. Like Gaza, Israel has increasingly disregarded US's call for restraint in Lebanon. The intense bombing and ground offensive has killed over 2,000 and left dozens injured, according to Lebanese authorities.
עכשיו אתם ראיתם את ההתקפות שהאיראנים תנו לפני זמן קצר. ההתקפות האלה היו אגרסיביות, אבל ההתקפות האלה נכשלו כי הן לא היו התקפות מדויקות.
Iran has publicly warned that any party seen aiding Israel will be treated as aggressors. Experts say it is unlikely that Iran's neighbors will explicitly come to Tehran's defense in the event of an Israeli attack. But Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar have made it clear they will not allow Israel to use their airspace to strike Iran. Iran is also reaching out to Russia amid the escalating tensions. President Vladimir Putin has hailed close links with Iran.
بحرانیه و کشورهای اروپایی و آمریکایی دلشون نمیخواد منطقه آرام باشه تا بتونیم این ارتباطات رو در
As the world closely watches every move of Israel, it will be difficult to say how Israel is planning a massive Iran payback. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of what is expected to happen, we're being joined by retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, who's a military expert and also the host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. Colonel Davis, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us here on WION. And let me in fact start off by asking you this. At this moment, it is still not clear what the nature of the Israeli retaliation is expected to be. The Americans are urging for a proportional restrained response. But do you think at this point of time, the Israelis would be willing to even listen to the Americans?
Well, they certainly haven't so far. I mean, you can go all the way back to the U.S. requesting that Israel limit what it was going to do, even in the Gaza Strip, and to be more careful and more precise in its attacks. And of course, none of that took place. The U.S. asked them not to go into Rafah in the south with tanks. They did. They said they want a two-state solution. Israel says, no, we're not going to talk about that, on and on and on. So that hasn't happened up to this point. It doesn't seem very realistic that it would. One of the other problems is that when you say respond proportionally, that's in the eye of the beholder. So what's proportional to one is definitely not proportional to another. And I think at this point, any kind of strike that is, quote, lethal and painful, to use the Israeli words, on Iran, no matter what anyone in the South or the West may say about proportion, it matters what Iran thinks. And if they get hit with anything, whether it's the nuclear facilities, oil, energy facilities, IRGC/military facilities, they're going to respond because it won't be proportional to them. In their minds, their last strike was the end of it. That was the tit for tat, so to speak. So now than anything else that comes here, there's likely to be a very strong, much stronger Iranian response back to Israel. And then, of course, you just have to go up the rung of escalation ladder and no one knows where it stops.
And also, what is the role that would be of the other Arab nations in the region? Because in the month of April, when the Iranians carried out their missile and drone attack, countries like Jordan and even Saudi Arabia, for that matter, reportedly took part in intercepting some of the Iranian missiles. But in the case of the Israelis staging an attack on Iran, do you think these countries would want to cooperate with Israel? Because Iran has made it clear, if their territories or airspace are being used by Israel for carrying out the attack, then those would become legitimate targets.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real game of chicken because, you know, everybody's trying to figure out what do people, different actors actually mean. Will Saudi Arabia prevent Israeli airspace or Israel from violating their airspace? Will Jordan actually give it? And then if they do, would Iran actually expand the war, not just against Israel, but now against other Arab regimes as well, and could explode, you know, the thing into a big conflagration? Because it's one thing if Iran has to fight Israel, but if they have to fight Israel and Saudi Arabia and Jordan potentially, then you see that the thing can overwhelm them very quickly, and the cost to Iran could be higher. At the same time, we don't know if the calculation from Tehran is that, well, we're going to get hit one way or the other. So if we're going to get hit, so are they. If our oil infrastructure, for example, gets hit, I'm going to make sure theirs has payment. Anyone who participated in this will do it. And I don't think it's a safe bet to go against any of this. The chances of this thing blowing up into a regional war is extremely large. And I would hope that the U.S. would use its enormous leverage with Israel to insist that that not happen. But as you pointed out at the beginning here, we haven't so far, and it's not a very good bet that we're going to this time.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Colonel Daniel Davis, for joining us and getting his dark perspective there.
More and more countries across the global south are breaking diplomatic relations with Israel and accusing it of genocide against the Palestinian people. This is especially the case in Latin America, where numerous governments led by parties broke off relations with Israel. And the latest example is Nicaragua. The Sandinista government of Nicaragua has formally cut ties with Israel and has accused Israel of genocide, denouncing Israel as a fascist regime. And Nicaragua also expressed its full solidarity with Palestine. In the statement published on the 11th of October, the government of Nicaragua condemned what it called the, quote, brutal genocide that the fascist and war criminal government of Israel continues to wage against the Palestinian people, end quote. Nicaragua condemned, quote, the continued genocide, cruelty, extreme hatred, and extermination carried out by the government of Israel, reiterating the demand for compliance with all United Nations resolutions for the creation of the State of Palestine as a free, sovereign, independent, and self-determined state, end quote. And the Sandinista government of Nicaragua continued saying, quote, we condemn once again this genocide, the occupation, and the permanent aggression against the life and dignity of the people of Palestine, which is now expanding against the people of Lebanon and seriously threatening Syria, Yemen, and Iran, endangering the peace and security of the region and the world, end quote. And then Nicaragua emphasized its, quote, permanent solidarity with the people and government of Palestine, end quote. Now, it's not just left-wing governments in Latin America that are accusing Israel of genocide. Top experts at the United Nations, who are leaders in international law, have said very clearly that Israel is committing genocide and have demanded an arms embargo, although the United States has continued sending billions of dollars of weapons. In 1 year, the Biden-Harris administration sent Israel $18 billion of military aid. And the Israeli regime itself has been pretty blatant about its genocidal intentions. For instance, the far-right finance minister of Israel, Bezalel Smotrich, he openly said that the Israeli regime wants to starve the entire population of Gaza to death. I'm reading a report here from August in the mainstream media outlet, The Times of Israel. It quoted Israel's finance minister who complained that, quote, nobody will let us cause 2 million civilians to die of hunger, even though it might be justified and moral, end quote. So this top official in the Israeli regime complained, saying, we want to starve every single Palestinian in Gaza to death, but the international community won't let us, he complained. So instead, Israel is going to bomb Gaza to smithereens, destroy every single person's house, liquidate entire families, which is what Israel has been doing with weapons and support from the United States and some European countries. And by the way, as for the accusation that the Israeli government is fascist, this is not just an insult that left-wing critics of Israel use. This has been acknowledged even by the most mainstream newspaper in Israel, Haaretz, which is a liberal Zionist newspaper. It's critical of Netanyahu, but it still upholds the Zionist settler colonial project. And this leading newspaper, Haaretz, has published many articles that say very clearly that Israel is run by a fascist regime. This is, again, a top Israeli newspaper that has been compared to the New York Times. It's often described as the New York Times of Israel. And as examples of the growing fascism inside Israel, Haaretz notes that left-wing journalists who have reported on the genocidal crimes committed by the Israeli regime have faced charges of treason, and media outlets in Israel have called for executing journalists who disseminate so-called defeatist propaganda, and they say that they should be executed for, quote, undermining the spirit of Israeli soldiers, end quote. So you're not allowed in Israel to report on the genocide that the Israeli fascist regime is carrying out against the Palestinians. But more and more countries around the world, especially in the global south, are very clearly saying this is genocide. This is precisely why in December of 2023, South Africa formally accused Israel of genocide in the International Court of Justice, which is the top UN legal authority. And this was deeply symbolic, of course, because South Africa, the Black population, the indigenous population, was a victim of apartheid for decades through Dutch colonialism, a European colonial regime that imposed a white supremacist apartheid system on South Africa. And the Palestinian people today are suffering under a similar supremacist, racist, colonial system of apartheid imposed by the Zionist regime, which is a European colonial project like the Afrikaner regime in South Africa, imposed by Dutch colonialism and British colonialism. And just a few weeks after South Africa introduced that case in the International Court of Justice, Nicaragua applied to officially join this case. Nicaragua also accused Israel in the International Court of Justice of carrying out genocide against the Palestinian people. Now, Nicaragua was the first country to join South Africa in this case at the ICJ, but since then, several more countries have joined. In fact, in October 2024, the leftist government in Bolivia, also in Latin America, joined the case as well. And thus far, the list of countries that have officially joined South Africa in this case accusing Israel of genocide in the International Court of Justice, those countries are Nicaragua, Colombia, Libya, Mexico, Palestine itself, Spain, Turkey, Chile, and the Maldives. Now you can see a very interesting trend here, which is that Latin America has helped lead the world in opposition to Israel's genocide and in solidarity with the Palestinian people. So in the past year, Nicaragua and Bolivia have cut off diplomatic relations formally with Israel, and Cuba and Venezuela, the leftist governments there, previously cut off relations with Israel. They do not have any formal relations. Furthermore, the governments of Colombia, Chile, Honduras, and Brazil have also recalled their ambassadors to Israel. So they don't have an ambassador there in protest. And Mexico has joined the case at The Hague accusing Israel of genocide. Now, it's not every government in Latin America. It's the left-wing governments, which are the majority of the governments in the region. The right-wing governments in Latin America are very closely allied with the United States and strongly support Israel. But the left-wing governments in Latin America, they have a history of being targeted by U.S. imperialism for coups and military invasions and interventions and regime change. And they are tired of U.S. meddling in their region, violating their sovereignty. And they have seen the same thing happen in Palestine and have shown solidarity with the Palestinian people and feel empathy as victims of colonialism by the Western powers. And that's why these left-wing governments in Latin America have been speaking out so forcefully against Israeli colonialism. And honestly, the Latin American left-wing governments have done exponentially more to support Palestine than most of the governments in the so-called Middle East, in West Asia, most of the Arab countries. Now, of course, there are the countries in the resistance like Syria and Iraq and Yemen and Lebanon who have defended Palestine. And then, of course, Iran is the leader of the resistance. Iran is not an Arab majority country. It's a Persian majority country. But the point is that the Arab countries around, most of them have done basically nothing to help the Palestinian people, including the richest countries in the region, like Saudi Arabia, like the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, these very rich Persian Gulf monarchies that make billions and billions of dollars every year selling oil and gas. They have done very little to actually support the Palestinians, whereas poorer countries relatively in Latin America are speaking out because it's the principled thing to do, opposing colonialism and imperialism and genocide. They don't get anything from it politically and certainly economically. They get threats of more sanctions and US interventions and attacks against their elected representative governments, but they know that it's the principled thing to do, and that's why they are supporting Palestine. Now, earlier I read part of the statement published by the government of Nicaragua announcing that it broke relations with Israel. And I want to also read a statement that was published by Nicaragua's democratically elected National Assembly, which is their version of their Congress, their legislature. This statement was only published in Spanish, but I translated it into English, and I want to highlight some of the main points. The Nicaraguan National Assembly condemned Israel's, quote, arrogance, cruelty, and extreme hatred against innocent families, mercilessly bombing civilian infrastructure such as hospitals, schools, and homes, end quote. They said, quote, the genocide in Gaza represents undoubtedly the most detestable atrocity of the 21st century, end quote. And the Nicaraguan National Assembly, which in the National Assembly, the leftist Sandinista Front is the biggest party. The National Assembly noted that there is an oligarchy, a capitalist oligarchy in the world. And they said that this, quote, world oligarchy that dominates Western governments and the media and international organizations that supposedly defend human rights hide the true dimension of the suffering and destruction of the Palestinian people, end quote. They referred to the government of Israel as the, quote, enemy of humanity. And they noted that Israel's crimes are being committed with, quote, the complicity and logistical and military support of the North American and European empires, end quote. And they referred to Israel as the, quote, tip of the spear, end quote, of the North American and European empires. So they're pointing out that Israel is a tool used by Western imperialism to try to control this region. And they pointed out that not only is the Israeli regime attacking the Palestinian people, it's also attacking Iran, Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen. And in this statement, the Nicaraguan National Assembly, in which the leftist Sandinista Front is the majority, they talked about the history of Nicaraguan resistance against Western colonialism and imperialism, going back to indigenous leaders, and then the more modern resistance led by famous leaders like Carlos Fonseca, the founder of the Sandinista National Liberation Front, or other leaders like Agosto Sandino, who fought against the U.S. military occupation of his country, and his wife, Blanca Raus. Also, revolutionaries like Rigoberto Lopez Perez, and past Nicaraguan revolutionaries and generals who fought against the U.S. invaders, like, for instance, Andrés Castro and Benjamín Celedón. And the Nicaraguan National Assembly emphasized that these past heroes in the anti-colonial struggle in Nicaragua have shown, quote, with their anti-imperialist thinking and their liberatory actions, they inspire us to defend peace, sovereignty, self-determination, and solidarity among nations, end quote. And they emphasize that this is why Nicaragua has been standing in support of Palestinians and condemning Israeli colonialism. And it's why Nicaragua joined this case in the International Court of Justice, accusing Israel of genocide. Now, these points are very powerful because they demonstrate the long history of shared struggle between the Palestinian people and, more broadly, the people of West Asia, and the struggles of people in Latin America, in Nicaragua and other countries that have been victims of first European colonialism and then U.S. imperialism. The U.S., for instance, has militarily invaded and occupied Nicaragua 3 times. And then later, the U.S. empire propped up a far-right military dictatorship of the Somoza family in Nicaragua that ruled the country with an iron fist for decades, until in 1979, the people of Nicaragua overthrew this U.S.-backed right-wing dictatorship, and they had a socialist revolution led by the Sandinista Front. And ever since, the U.S. empire has tried to crush the Sandinista revolution in Nicaragua. In the 1980s, the CIA-backed far-right death squads, the Contras, it's Contrarrevolucionario is the name in Spanish, which means counter-revolution. So the CIA backed these counter-revolutionary death squads who burned down schools and hospitals in Nicaragua, trying to just defeat the Sandinista revolution. And then in 2018, the U.S. government backed another violent coup attempt against Nicaragua's democratically elected Sandinista government, trying to overthrow it. And now Nicaragua is under illegal unilateral U.S. sanctions, like the governments of Cuba and Venezuela, and the government of Iran, which also had a revolution in 1979. It was of a different political character. It was an Islamic nationalist revolution, but it was fundamentally an anti-colonial revolution, like many of the anti-colonial struggles across the global South. Like in Algeria, for instance, there are a lot of similarities between the Algerian revolution against French colonialism and the Iranian revolution against the US-backed puppet dictator, the Shah, who was installed in a 1953 coup orchestrated by the CIA that overthrew Iran's democratically elected left-wing prime minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, who had nationalized Iran's oil reserves. So the point is that there are many parallels in this history of anti-colonial struggle in Latin America and in West Asia, of the Iranian people, the peoples of Iraq and Syria and Yemen and Lebanon, and of course, the people of Palestine. And in the case of Nicaragua, the Sandinista Front has had for decades very close ties to the Palestinian struggle. In fact, during the armed struggle against the Somoza regime, this US puppet regime in the 1970s, there were Sandinista revolutionaries who trained with Palestinian revolutionaries fighting against Israeli colonialism backed by the US empire. And after the victory of the Sandinista revolution in 1979, there were Palestinians who got support from the Sandinistas in the 80s. And this is why this July 2024, the guest of honor at the anniversary, honoring the 45th anniversary of the Sandinista revolution in Nicaragua, was the Palestinian revolutionary leader, Leila Khaled. She was invited as the guest of honor. She sat next to Nicaragua's president, Daniel Ortega, and vice president, Rosario Murillo, and she gave a powerful speech honoring the Nicaraguan people and the revolutionary Sandinista struggle and their solidarity with the Palestinian people.
Vemos también cómo los imperialistas se ensañan de un pueblo que por acuerdos en los organismos internacionales, en Naciones Unidas, tiene derecho a ser un Estado, el Estado palestino, de un pueblo que está siendo sometido al genocidio, donde los niños están siendo asesinados todos los días, donde los jóvenes están siendo asesinados todos los días, y gobiernos europeos, el gobierno de Estados Unidos, reunidos en la OTAN, deciden todos los días darle cada vez más armas para que se sigan bombardeando al pueblo palestino. Y lo dicen claramente los gobernantes del Estado de Israel, que quieren que desaparezca el Estado palestino. Lo dicen sin ninguna vergüenza. La ley manda. Fue acuerdo de Naciones Unidas firmado por todos los países del mundo, entonces, que había que crear dos estados, el Estado de Israel y el Estado palestino. ¿Y qué dicen las autoridades de Israel? Que no debe existir el Estado palestino, que debe desaparecer porque es una amenaza para Israel. Si nos vamos con esa filosofía, habría que pedir la desaparición del Estado de la United States. El primero que debería desaparecer es ese Estado, que es el mayor criminal que tiene la humanidad. Y no solamente para andar asesinando a los pueblos, ocupando países como ha pasado aquí en Nicaragua, invadida por los yanquis.
And there is also another direct parallel between the Palestinian struggle and the struggle of Nicaragua against US imperialism and neocolonialism. And that is that in 1986, the International Court of Justice at The Hague officially ruled against the United States in favor of Nicaragua. And the International Court of Justice said that the United States violated international law and carried out acts of aggression against the people of Nicaragua after the CIA armed and trained the Contra death squads, after the CIA helped put mines in the civilian ports in Nicaragua that led to destruction of civilian infrastructure and deaths, after the CIA bombed Nicaraguan pipelines and civilian infrastructure. These were acts of war against the Nicaraguan people carried out by the United States. And that's why the ICJ said that the U.S. violated international law, and the ICJ said that the U.S. owes the people of Nicaragua reparations. That was in 1986. The U.S. government ignored the ruling, and it used its power in the Security Council to prevent that ruling from being implemented. The U.S. has veto power as a permanent member of the UN Security Council. So the U.S. government is a rogue regime, like the Israeli rogue regime. They spit in the face of international law. They spit in the face of the International Court of Justice at The Hague. And now we see that the Palestinian people are seeking justice after Israel has carried out genocide against them, just like the Nicaraguan people have sought justice for the crimes committed against them. And the U.S. has refused for decades to honor this ruling. It has refused to pay reparations to the people of Nicaragua. This is the true face of Western so-called democracy. This is the true face of what Western governments refer to as their rules-based international order, in which they make the rules and order everyone around. And they carry out genocide and crimes against humanity, and they face no consequences because they created this system in a way that gives them veto power. They control this system. And that's why so many countries in the global South in particular they're fed up and they are rising up. They are rebelling against Western imperialism, this international dictatorship controlled by the US and its European allies, and these global South countries that represent the global majority. They represent 86% of the world population. The West only represents 14% of the world population. And we can see that countries like Nicaragua, the Sandinista government in Nicaragua, or countries like Venezuela and Cuba and Bolivia, they are at the vanguard of this international struggle against Western imperialism and neocolonialism. They're at the vanguard of this struggle for international democracy and multipolarity. And these are the things that we talk about regularly here at Geopolitical Economy Report. So if you like the work that we do, please like and subscribe. Please share this. And please come back soon for more.
A mysterious black ring appeared in the sky in Hampton Roads on Tuesday. Several TV10 viewers reached out to the station with images and video of the ominous-looking ring floating in the sky. The messages started coming in shortly after 11 a.m. on Tuesday. One wavy viewer sent in a video when he was working in the vicinity of Eastern State Hospital in Williamsburg. Another wavy viewer was in the area of Old Moortown Road. He stopped to snap some photos. We discovered news articles and social media posts describing other similar sightings. Reports said a fire or some type of explosion could have caused the ring. We did reach out to the James City County Fire Department to see if there were any reports of fires or explosions at the time. The fire chief had not heard of any. If you know what caused the black ring or have any pictures or video to add to our coverage, please let us know on wavy.com.
So these very interesting black smoke rings have been appearing all over the place, and people are capturing them on film. There are some people that are saying that they've never seen anything like this before. There are those that believe these black smoke rings could be connected to aliens, extraterrestrials, or something from another dimension. Some people believe that this could be connected to Project Bluebeam, the false stage alien invasion. There are others that believe that this could be connected to weather manipulation, weather modification. These black smoke rings appeared in Tampa directly before and after Hurricane Milton. So the question happens to be, are these something sinister? Are these something strange, mysterious, and abnormal? Or could these be something that are easily explained? And my thing is, maybe. And the reason why I say maybe is because two things can be true at the same time. And I do believe a lot of people forget that two things can be true at the same time. These could be something strange and abnormal, and these can also be something that are completely normal. The non-strange explanation happens to be that these black smoke rings originate from a small explosion. For example, an electrical transformer exploding or catching on fire, or these can even appear from a truck's exhaust pipe. For example, this video right here. So yes, there could definitely be a rational explanation behind these black smoke rings. Now, transformers have been around for a very long time, pyrotechnicians have been around for a very long time, and so have trucks. And a lot of people are acting like they've never seen anything like this before. And like I said in the beginning of the video, two things can be true at the same time, and something strange and mysterious can definitely be taking place here. There has been a mass increase of sightings when it comes to these black smoke rings, in very unusual places at that, such as over lakes, rivers, above forests, and in places where you would not find transformers or trucks blowing their exhaust pipe. But it seems like these black smoke rings are formed from a small concentration of energy exploding. These black smoke rings also remind me of volcanoes. We can see smoke rings coming out of volcanoes.
Welcome back. The largest active volcano in Europe is blowing smoke rings into the sky. Mount Etna in Sicily is producing rare volcanic vortex rings. The phenomenon is created by rapid gas release and the vent shape from the opening. A volcano expert says Etna produces more vapor rings than any other volcano on Earth. He went on to say the volcano is breaking records, emitting hundreds and perhaps thousands of smoke rings.
And what's rather interesting about volcanoes is that there's been a study where researchers believe that volcanoes, the energy used in volcanoes, can be used as gateways, as portals to other dimensions. This theory intensified when a UFO, or what is believed to be a UFO anyway, was caught on camera going inside a volcano in Mexico, which led researchers to believe that, again, volcanoes could be some kind of gateway to other dimensions and be used as wormholes. These small black smoke rings that are being seen all over the world at an increased rate could definitely be an aftermath of some kind of wormhole, portal, or some kind of vortex opening up and releasing a lot of energy. What I find rather interesting is that Hollywood a lot of times likes to give us the truth in plain sight. What we think is fiction is their way of showing us the truth. And we can see something very similar to these black smoke rings in the movie Arrival. These black rings that were shown in the movie Arrival were part of the alien language that was used as a form of communication. So again, it's rather interesting that Hollywood is showing us that these black rings that are seen all over the world are some kind of alien communication. There was an individual who captured one of these black rings on film, and they took what they caught on camera and posted it on Reddit. And there are many people that are saying that this black ring is very similar to what was shown in the movie Arrival. What I also find rather interesting is that a majority of times when these black smoke rings appear, there is never any source identified. For example, reading this article from UGI, which was published on August 16th, 2024, it is titled, Origins of Black Ring in the Sky Over Virginia, a Mystery. The article continues to say, several Virginia residents captured video when a mysterious black ring was seen floating in the sky over the Williamsburg area. Multiple witnesses in the Hampton Roads region reported seeing the black ring in the sky shortly after 11 a.m. Tuesday, and multiple people captured photos and videos of the unusual phenomenon. The ring vanished within a few minutes. Seemingly, similar black rings have been spotted in other locations in the past, with fires and explosions being cited as the likely cause. They're saying likely cause because, again, they don't know 100%. The James City County Fire Department said it was unaware of any reports of incidents that could have caused the ring at the time of the sightings. This is the common theme in the news. You'll have people reporting on these black rings. You'll have a lot of people coming forth and saying that this is a very unusual sighting, and they're being seen in multiple areas. And the news will say, well, it's likely to be caused from a small explosion, could be likely from a transformer or a pyrotechnician in the area, but they'll never know. They'll never 100% know what's actually causing a lot of these black ring sightings. So these black ring sightings that are increasing in frequency are rather interesting to say the least. And like I said, a majority of them have no explanation whatsoever. So these rings could be produced by something completely normal, or they could be produced by something abnormal. But again, like I said, two things can be true at the same time. But I do want to hear from you. Please do comment in the comment section below. What do you think happens to be producing these rings?
Go figure. Follow me.